You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is Liberty. Each week we strive to bring you the best guests in talk radio. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad delivers weekly interviews of noteworthy politicians, experts, and activists. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is bringing the party to the Libertarian Party and launching ideas in your direction. Check us out at johnnyrocketlaunchpad.com. You can hear me, Kurt Nelson, and the beautiful Heather Nixon talk about the ideas of liberty. Rock and roll.
Hey there, Liberty lovers. This is Mark Claire of the Lions of Liberty podcast, where we strive to bring you great conversations about the ideas of liberty 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Check us out at lionsofliberty.com.
Hey guys, this is Roger Paxton, and if you're fed up with the government running every single aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, then what's wrong with you? Check us out at thelavaflow.com, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow Podcast, striking the root every single episode.
We are supported by listeners like you. Donate per month or make a one-time donation through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. Welcome to We Are Libertarians. I am your host, Chris Spangle. We Are Libertarians brings you all of the irreverence modern politics deserve. Think of us as the love child between National Review and Mad Magazine. We explain to you what the hell is happening in our world today and how we can fix it by thinking differently. Please be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, like us on Facebook, share this episode with friends, and support us through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. We are supported by listeners like you, so $1 per episode by pledging $5 a month helps us grow. We're always taking your questions and comments via email at editor@wearelibertarians.com. If you are new to the program, we catch up for the first 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then we do a deep dive into analyzing current events. And I would finish reading my script, but Mittens just walked right in front of the intro.
We're behind schedule. She had to get that in immediately.
Right, exactly. This show is for adults by semi-adults, so please be warned, the language is strong and offensive. And the program is always irreverent. We try to look professional if you're watching on our YouTube channel or on Facebook Live. And it looks like a professional studio until the cat jumps on and just puts her cat butt right in the old camera's face.
I've got the best view in the house.
You have
right up the old shitter.
Right. It is amazing how every time we start the show,
you can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up.
That's so true. That voice you hear is my dear, committed, on every episode co-host, Greg Lenz. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you tonight?
We seem to be missing someone.
I'll tell you, you remember last fall when you had Cornelius,
right,
and then you had Mittens,
right.
Well, then you somehow acquired Muffins back.
I cucked my ex-wife's cat, which used to be my cat.
You did, and what you noticed, you ended up getting some cat pheromones because it just threw off the general vibe of everything.
It was, yeah. It was out of control in here.
And it was irritating you. I mean, I remember one episode you went and got up mid-episode and threw them all in the bedroom, locked them in there, then felt so guilty about it, you unlocked it and let them back out.
I love my cats. I love my animals. As you know, Dear Leader is generous and thorough.
Yes, and then you
creatures.
You deported poor Corn Muffins.
Cornelius went and lived with our friend Christine, and she's doing great. She's living the life.
You repurposed Corn Muffins.
Yep, she's gone.
And what I've noticed,
she's in a better place.
Is just like the issue with Corn Muffins. When we had the third cat, the last few episodes,
right,
it threw off the vibe.
Oh.
And now that cat's gone, everything's so much better. We should have a strict 2-cat policy on We Are Libertarians.
You know she's listening right now just for her name.
I hope so, because really, if we're being honest, 2 scoops, 2 genders, 2 co-hosts.
Goddamn right.
That other voice you hear is that of Tanner Perdue. Tanner, you seem to be lacking in self-control. Talking before
self-control.
Yeah, you're talking before you're introduced.
This is my dad.
Now,
am I right?
No,
damn right, son.
Tanner,
thank you, Dad.
You seem to be slow of speech tonight. It's not like you. Is everything okay? I'm worried about you.
I'm fine.
Now you're. But
I did mess my leg up though.
You did. Now
it's Vicodin and stuff. Dear leader.
It's like I'm on a Skype call and there's a lag.
No, I haven't been to the doctor yet, but it's swollen like twice the size of my other knee.
Your eyes are swollen too, man.
Yeah, I was boxing the other night.
You're boxing? Is that why your eyes are swollen?
I mean, probably.
You should see a doctor. Your eyes are red too.
I mean, I'll ask the doctor why they're red.
Did your mom poison you again? Like at
My
the pool
mom's
party?
actually watching. Hi, Mom. I love you.
I have a feeling I'm gonna have full custody here pretty soon if the court has anything to say about it.
Yeah.
Tanner,
Does your basement have enough space for him?
Yeah. Oh, he's been there before. That's where his locker quote is.
now
Yeah.
can you shake him? He's falling asleep. You seem very.
I'm not falling.
You seem very relaxed.
I'm very relaxed.
Yeah. How'd you get so relaxed?
Dakota, we can go. He's not going to need us for the show. We're good.
You're talking before you're introduced. Shut your mouth.
I can't just say what I did.
Somebody farted on your pillow again. You got pink eye.
I'm afraid I've been poisoned.
You've been poisoned, huh?
I think Mom poisoned me and Rachel Valor.
Your mother poisoned
I have
you.
a feeling. Remember, Greg?
I remember
Dad,
the pool party.
Dad, you remember that one?
I
eye
was
she
desperately
poisoned?
worried about what was wrong with you, and I thought you had contracted pink eye from Jer's party.
The reason I'm calm is I'm calm when I get furious. And I have a feeling Mom has poisoned me again.
No, my friend Tom Worthen, my high school BFF, my high school Greg, if you will, said to check Tanner's drink because I'm Bill Cosbying Tanner, which is not the case.
Oh, hell yeah. Please
There's
do.
the casting couch right there.
Yeah.
Please
How
do.
bad do you want your own podcast, Tanner?
Yeah, you want to get into podcasting, little feller?
Throw a roofie.
All right, now
Whatever. it is.
next up is Dakota Davis, your very first appearance here on We Are Libertarians. Welcome, Dakota.
Is this the time where I say long-time listener, first-time guest?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Now, Dakota, you are a co-host on the Boss Hog of Liberty show.
That's right.
Right. And what is it like being in Jeremiah Morrel's kingdom?
You never know what to expect whenever you walk into those doors. I'm telling you right now.
I'll tell you, he treats you worse than arguably any podcast co-host in all of podcasting.
I go over there for a simple podcast, and it turns into
Hey, help me put up this fence. While you're at it, would you do the gutters?
It was his fence.
The fence was mine.
I know.
Quiet. You've not been introduced.
Speak when spoken to.
No, you don't. He does that to every co-host. He yells at them at the beginning of every podcast. You've not been introduced. He just the whole show. Dakota, correct me if I'm
true.
wrong.
It's very true. He still does it to me. Like I still need introduced.
Right.
There's been 16 episodes, and I still need an introduction. Apparently.
Yeah. He's just been. He just screams at his co-host
Power corrupts.
the entire time. That we are, of course, speaking of Jeremiah Morrel. Jeremiah, how are you?
Hello, dear leader. Thank you for welcoming us on the show.
I'm so glad to have you. Now, you guys have your own podcast, and it is the Boss Hog of Liberty.
I'm very proud to have brought all of my friends to today's show.
Yeah, you. I'm
the only one that rode with him.
Tanner, you drove yourself, huh? Of course.
He's fiercely independent.
He says, of course. Now, Tanner, how's the drive over?
I thought it was awesome, really.
It's a beautiful drive, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Right down 70 from the east side of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
How many? Do you remember how many police officers we saw on the way here?
I didn't see one.
Yeah.
That's right.
How many did you two see?
We saw two.
Two?
Plenty.
Plenty.
Were they hiding in that little
Enough.
trap right before you get to 465?
Or what? No,
There's one as soon as we got on to 70.
Yep.
It was like, there's the one.
Always.
Oh yeah, it was a state.
Yeah, Statey.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
seeing him.
Yeah.
That's the only one I saw.
Now, Jeremiah, you have a podcast called The Boss Hog of Liberty that everybody should subscribe to. You've built quite the following. You've got a very good following. It's a very funny show. I've listened to approximately 2.5 episodes, and I really enjoyed it. Okay.
Flips up.
2 whole episodes.
It's like my uncle's here. He's just...
It's drunk uncle over there in the corner.
You listened to 2 episodes. Good for you, fag.
Yeah, so we're 16 episodes in. It's been it's a little bit of a pop culture show. It's a little bit about my life, Dakota's life, and whatever guests we have on.
Yeah.
It's focused on small time Indiana, a lot of local politics, and we try to cast them out for national issues, or if there's a story that catches our eye that's national. We'll talk about that.
A lot of, it's like a real-life Pawnee. You are actually the real-life Ron Swanson.
Right now, I'm the Ron Swanson of Henry County, I guess. I'm the president of the local parks board. I'm not the day-to-day person, but I have the I'm the president of a park.
Yeah. Now we seem to be down someone already, Greg.
It's nap time.
He said he'd be right back. Given the handicapable state he's in, I don't know how quickly that means.
Perhaps somebody's at the door.
Considering he got lost entering the apartment complex, and we were shouting Marco Polo and told him to honk his horn.
Now,
honk your horn, we can't hear him.
Was that the door shutting?
He left.
He left.
If you'd listened to 3 episodes, he'd have stayed.
I won't say who, but I was given 2 gummy bears. All right, he's coming back. Okay.
No, he's not.
It could have been Jeremiah. It could have been you. It could have been
Yes.
Muffins. It could have been Dakota.
The likely suspects. That's who the investigation would start with.
The
three
ones
of
you're
us.
wearing collared shirts.
Yeah.
Brought me 2 gummy bears that smell nothing like sugar. I'll be keeping those to keep young Tanner safe from drugs.
Oh.
Hugs. not
Theoretical
drugs. Right.
gummy bears.
Right. Theoretical. This is show business.
Yes.
You have a lovely pie on the table.
I do. It was provided by the very lovely fiance of Dakota, Miss Audrey Jo.
Yes.
Soon to be daughter-in-law.
Soon to be daughter-in-law. And I was stunned because when you asked what kind of pie I liked this morning in chat, I honestly thought it was a setup for a punchline. Like I was going to be, whatever I said was going to be the victim of some punchline. So I read it like, I'm not taking the bait.
Yeah.
Turns out it was a real thing.
A real
and
pie.
She baked me a cherry pie, which is just awesome because it's my favorite. And I'm a little shocked, though. If I listened to episode 16,
Yeah.
given her tone and her feelings about
You
me,
did listen to episode 16?
I'd have bet money that there wasn't a pie coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I listened very well.
I told you there would be homework. You really needed to listen to that.
I
It was a
listened
preview.
very, very intently.
Now,
You were uninvited in no unclear terms.
Oh, it
to
was
the
made
wedding.
crystal clear that I am not to be a part of any wedding ceremony, even as the father of the groom.
am I invited?
None of us other than Jer, I believe, because it's family and friends only.
As
Or
I noted,
family only.
I
mainly.
get to go, but I have to stand.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremiah's not allowed to sit.
it's more of a it's forced French. It's forced groomsmanship.
Everyone be quiet. Dakota, I'm not invited to your wedding.
You're invited to the reception.
No. I don't care about receptions. I don't drink. I don't dance. I love Jesus.
Dancing, I can.
Oh boy.
Did you just spill a beer?
I did.
No.
The sober one here.
Take your crackberry off of it. It's getting
Yeah.
beer.
Make sure you...
That's irreplaceable.
Oh, boy. We've got a real situation here.
It
Dakota,
is dripping on me.
I started this podcast network. I made you, and I'm not allowed to come to your wedding.
I didn't invite anybody to the wedding.
This is outrageous.
There was 100 people that were invited.
See, they always like I've been.
You've been through a wedding.
I've been through a wedding. You were at my wedding.
I was.
You timed it.
I did. I think it was less than 15 minutes.
It was 14 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah.
It was almost as short as the marriage.
We had yats at the reception.
Yeah,
I love
yats. We managed to get that wedding in under $5,000. It cost less than the divorce.
That's our exact budget too.
Yeah, it's hard to do a wedding under $5,000.
It really is. Like people don't. My dad does not realize that.
Yeah. Make sure you talk right into that mic, Dakota. Your mic technique, as much as we've tried with young Dakota Jer, he's not getting it.
We're getting there. He's been going through his diaphragm skills and he's been practicing. Even at the end of episode 16, I had to tell him to get right
Tanner.
up on that thing.
Tried to break into your neighbor's.
Tanner, why did you spill this beer?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
There's beer on the table and then you left in shame.
No, you spilled your beer, Tanner.
You spilled the beer and then you walked away.
No. Sit down. We're very angry with you.
This isn't an intervention.
You spilled a beer. Sit down.
I have that kind
No, sit down. Talk into the microphone.
Sit down in front of the microphone.
What is going on?
You spilled the beer and you ruined the table and you ruined a microphone.
What?
Yes. Don't you remember when you did that?
I miss Scat Cat as well. I'm answering comments on the chat.
Everybody, let's focus on Tanner spilling the beer, please. Sit down. Tanner. Greg, can you move back a little bit so people can see his face?
I did not know that happened.
Yeah, you did. You spilled the beer. Sit down, man.
Yeah,
we need to talk.
You spilled one of Greg's beers too. Like it wasn't even.
Yeah,
it wasn't even one of the cheap ones that we're drinking.
Tanner, what do you have to say for spilling that beer?
Did I do it?
Yes, you did it.
Like, you guys aren't just playing.
No, we're not playing
No, we're
with
not
you.
playing.
I'm very angry right now.
Like,
Actually,
seriously?
I'm very
Look at your father continuing to clean up your mess.
I'm just in shock.
You're in shock. Yeah.
No pie for you.
I'll give you the money for it tomorrow.
All right, you owe me $3 for that beer, Tanner, that you spilled.
Did you ever replace
No,
the
like,
broken Guinness bottle from Jeremiah's?
Oh, no, I didn't, did I?
Empty
All right.
promises.
Tabs up to $10 now.
No, but, what about the microphone?
Yeah, well, we'll have to talk because that's a $100 microphone you ruined.
And your father's BlackBerry got wet.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I did not.
You did?
Did I knock this over?
Yeah, well, you knocked a beer over.
What beer?
The beer that just spilled.
The one in the can or
Yes.
that
The
one?
canned beer.
How could you?
This one.
I don't know how it was all the way over there.
We're just all very mad at you right now.
Wow.
It was whenever you moved the
Well, we're
mic
gonna have to start
over.
the show over.
Spelled
This
the
was
mic.
awful.
This is you ruined the show.
Yeah, someone better call that kid an Uber.
Young Tanner will be sleeping here because he seems to. Look at his mouth is just wide open. He's
No, I'm just like so upset.
We're gonna get through this. It's gonna be okay.
No, like I don't remember doing that.
well. Then you need to see a doctor.
No, like what happened exactly? Like, did I stand up and just fucking knock it
I think
over?
when you got up to leave,
Yeah,
you don't know why you left.
Whenever he
but
moved the mic, whenever
I
he
said,
tilted
"I'll
the
be
mic
right
out of the way.
back," and I turned around.
Yeah,
And
well,
you just clipped it barely.
Oh my god. See, like,
I knocked it over. Talking about
damn
Audrey.
I knew you guys were fucking.
Oh, we're so sorry, son.
You sons of bitches.
You're an easy scapegoat.
I'm leaving.
I can't believe that worked.
I know. I'm leaving.
It barely did work.
It didn't barely
Because,
work.
like,
It totally
at
worked.
first I was like, you guys are fucking with me. And Dakota was like, no, I'm fucking pissed. You're supposed to be my brother, dude.
Now, how
What
did
the
how did
fuck,
this start?
Dakota?
Where there now Dakota looks like.
You started it.
Well, I took a photo of Dakota, and he looked like a young Greg Lenz. So I said he must be your son, and you go, "Well, I didn't have sex at 11, so he can't be my son." But none
It
of
was
us
12.
12, whatever.
I just
But
turned.
Rachel Valor said, "Oh yes, you did."
And then she outed me.
I thought it was Lisa Joe Crosby.
It's all the same.
Honestly, I was 12. It was a long time ago.
Let's be honest. Rachel is new Lisa.
Rachel's my mom.
Now,
Replacement Lisa. Hi, Lisa, listening down in Miami.
Rachel is my mom.
and then how did Tanner get adopted?
Then Rachel Ballard
She
listened to
gave
it, and then
birth
she
to me.
goes, "Your son Tanner," because she didn't realize it was Dakota who you were referring to.
Right.
And so then I was just like, "Well, I'll just whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just claim him." You know, he needs tutelage. He needs, I'm
needs a
bringing
good
him
father
along.
figure.
I got him
Right.
that haircut, cleaned up his act.
I'm the man.
Started, getting him in extracurricular activities such as
Yes,
boxing.
Cricket Wireless Empire.
Yeah.
Poor Tanner's looking for employment.
I'm still upset. Like, I knew it was bullshit, but like, when you guys actually said it was for real. Like,
We
I still
gaslighted
felt
you.
like it was bullshit. But
Are you still talking about spilling the beer?
We were asking.
Yeah.
We were asking that you're looking for employment. So if anybody
I'm
out
not really looking for employment.
there, okay.
I mean,
Give him
I'll
20
take
days
a
notice.
job. I'll take a job.
He's got a
But-
gummy bear empire.
My girlfriend Sarah Potter just tried to call me in the middle of the show.
Of course.
No.
She knows we're live. She's watching, and she just tried to call.
All right. Well, make sure you listen to the Boss Hog of Liberty.
That's probably important.
She texted back and said I was rude. It could be ugly. I don't know. I could be in trouble.
Yep.
Can I plug this?
You can.
Oh, he got a phone charger.
Yeah.
Find the box, though.
I don't have a box for you. I don't know what to do.
As accommodating as his box is, it won't handle a plug
I feel like
yours.
this is something you should have been prepared for.
Plug in for the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, do that. All right, so Boss Hog of Liberty on iTunes. You go, I think it's just bosshog.com, maybe? Bosshog.liberty.com?
It's Fireside. Just Facebook, look Boss Hog of Liberty.
I'll tell you what you do. You
just go to the link on We're Libertarians.
Go to
under podcasts.
Yeah, go to We Are Libertarians on the right-hand side. You can find the Boss Hog of Liberty there. Tanner is on very often. I wish you guys could see Tanner.
It's causing quite the scuttlebutt within the community. You're starting to rustle some jimmies in the local government structure.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had a number of different local decision makers on and influencers on the show.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Now, are they open to all of your topics?
Some have been. Some enjoy it, but tell me they disagree, or they tell us they disagree with us anyway. But that's cool.
So you're changing it from the inside with your podcast?
Our podcast is influencing the Henry County Courthouse. At least half of it listens.
I'm trying desperately to get chickens to be legal in Newcastle.
You can't have chickens in your backyard?
No, you have to have at least 5 acres. And
is
be
that why
outside
Tanner
of
was
city
trying
limits.
to punch honeybees because he couldn't catch the chickens?
He was
anger.
Yeah,
Furious.
it's all MMA training.
Now, when he talks off mic, ignore that he's talking. So,
Well,
I can't focus. It's just
this is a lot.
Tanner, go into the kitchen.
Right now, for those of you that are off camera here,
Tanner's performing a
go to the
slight
kitchen.
scavenger hunt.
He went outside to get a phone charger.
And behind the blender, there's a thing that you can plug in
He's
there.
currently getting directions from Spangle as to where to plug it in.
Yeah.
But he's wandered. He's hobbling because he did go through a traumatic knee injury
his
yesterday.
knee injury.
His ACL's bad. So he's gone.
He's got a knee brace on, I'll be honest.
He does. He's legitimately hurt. We were late coming over here, dear leader. I do apologize, but
You
Tanner
should.
Tanner had forgotten to put gas in his car because it's needed. You have to burn gas to get here, and then he didn't have his debit card because apparently somebody swiped it from him or he
Well, when
lost it
you're
along the way.
OG libertarian, you only use Bitcoin.
That's true.
Or you barter so you avoid taxation.
So on that bum
No
leg,
fiat
bum wheel of
currency.
his, he had to go into the Flying J, stand in line, come back. It's been a whole thing.
I like that Dakota goes, "Did you cancel your card?" And I go, "Why are you pretending like he's an adult?"
The kitchen is through there, buddy. On the other side of the curtain.
You were just in it. He said, whenever I asked him if he lost the card, he just said, "Well, it's protected by a PIN number."
I know he ruined
Secured by Visa.
He ruined show business. He broke the light. Now he blew the mystery that there's a kitchen behind there. If you're watching on Facebook,
he's our little anarchist Tasmanian devil.
Yes.
Glaucoma free and tearing up everything.
I want to take a minute before we move on to start talking about North Korea to thank a few people. We talked about a few of the software. I'm redesigning the site. I'm building out a few different things that you will hear me talk about with Lynn on the Chris Spangle Show. That's another podcast of ours. And I'm going to talk more about the...
There's rustling in your kitchen, dear leader.
Dakota, please, go help your brother.
Nothing's wrong.
It's behind the...
You told him to use the blender, didn't you?
I did. Please don't turn the blender on. I'm going to rebuild the site. We're planning out a few different things, and I'm going to start doing that podcast about podcasts that you've told me to do, and doing a few other things. And we're trying to raise around $500, and I'm about 300 of the way there. So I need around $250 more. I want to thank Rick Irvine. I want to thank... I'm going through the list. Austin Broderson. I want to thank Christy Avery and Craig DaCosta. Ryan Ripley's helping us out. He has a great podcast, The Agile Answer Man.
Tanner says he's good for $50 too.
Tanner's going to donate $50. And then, are you okay?
He looks like he's in pain.
And thank you guys so much for helping us out. So you guys are the best, and we're
charging now.
You're charging me?
No,
Your
the
phone is charging. I was like, I think it sounds like you owe me something. So we're almost there. We're rebuilding.
Spilled it.
We're building out a few new plans to try, and the membership site will be up very soon too. So that is what we're working on. Also wanted to take a moment to plug my buddy Johnny Rocket, the Johnny Rocket Launchpad has a comic book which you took a look at.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'm still not sure if it's a graphic novel or
Graphic
a comic
novel,
book, but
comic.
like the production value is insane.
Yeah,
and the only reason I say that is because I know to certain libertarians that will be,
Yes.
calling it the wrong one will be an act of excommunication.
Yeah, it's very cool. At JohnnyRocketLaunchpad.com. It's called Liberty Force, and it's on Comixology now. So check that out.
Well done by Johnny.
Forward by Tom Woods. He's not messing around.
No, this is a great book. It's a really good book. So
It's really well done.
let's talk about North Korea. The fat little midget in the fat North Korean midget in is midget appropriate for Kim
Is it
Jong
dwarf, midget, or
Un?
He's a little dictator.
vertically
I
challenged?
don't think he would be considered even a midget.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Midget expert Tanner Perdue.
But we'll still call him a fucking midget.
All right, and so Kim Jong Un has made certain threats. Can you fill us in? Let's start off with what exactly happened with North Korea, Greg.
So North Korea, the UN Security Council, all the voting members, I think it's all seven voting members of the Security Council, all voted to impose sanctions, the most harsh sanctions in the history of the UN against North Korea, essentially overnight crippling 30% of their economy.
Including Russia.
Russia and China both
And
supported
China.
the resolution. China even helped bring it to the vote. They facilitated it. So it's a pretty stunning rebuke. And the reason why they did so is China hasn't exactly been very helpful in handling this problem. And so this is extremely harsh economic sanction by the UN Council. And it really does threaten the economy to the point of instability of the North Korean regime. Because it'd be like the United States economy suffering just overnight 30% cut on exports and unable to export iron ore, seafood, and some other raw materials that are the primary exports for their economy. But since they don't import anything,
What trading partners do they have?
China,
Yeah.
Iran, I believe, I assume Venezuela.
It's against North Korea.
Yeah, and so this cripples the regime.
If they lose China, that's like their major trading partner. They're going to be screwed.
And it's really almost not even trading in so much as it is aid, because their economy is almost entirely dependent upon aid because they spend all their money developing weapons.
And
Their actual
China
hard
provides
currency.
their aid too. So.
I mean, yeah, China's
pretty
their
sure.
lifeline to feed their citizens, even though they're under, it's right at the precipice of mass starvation all the time in North
Right.
Korea.
So this starts with new sanctions at the United Nations.
And huge, one of a kind. First of, if you're a college football fan, it's like when they gave the death penalty to SMU and 20-year ban, no scholarships. Like it is brutal.
So when did the Security Council pass
Last
these?
week.
Last
and
week.
then that's what triggered. They had tested in July. It was in response to their 2 tests of their ballistic missile program. And so their most recent one, it appears, looks like it definitely can hit Guam. Hence him saying that, that's something that they're looking into.
Right.
And so what we don't know, though, is it's very, very debatable as to whether or not that they could actually miniaturize the nuclear warhead to the point it could hit.
I read that too.
What actual exports does North Korea have?
Iron ore, seafood. I'm trying to think what else.
Could you imagine North
lead,
Korean seafood? Is that what they get at Long John Silver's? Is that what
It's the same C you get for Chinese food.
Okay.
It's the same C.
All right.
They have lead and coal.
Yeah,
and coal.
lead, coal. I mean, it's all raw materials. They're very much like
Unrefined. They're just
it's the resource
milling.
curse, basically. Like they have no developed economy. One, because of communism, but two, because they're entirely dependent upon what raw materials they do have.
But they will be a superpower by 2020.
I was shocked to find out seafood would be one. I would never go order North Korean shrimp.
That's what
Or
I'm
North-
saying.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want the South Korean sushi.
Right,
Don't
yeah,
give me any
exactly.
of the eel.
Now it is unique because the Security Council spoke as one voice, including China.
Yeah, and so China's actually been a little bit. Russia was the real wonder whether or not they'd hold out, and because President Trump signed sanctions against them,
Right.
and then requested 755 U.S. diplomats be removed from Russia in response to the sanctions. So that was a bit iffy, and probably took quite a bit of hand holding by Secretary Tillerson behind the scenes. Because it looked like a weak move by Putin to go ahead and vote with the U.S. interests on these sanctions.
Alex on the Facebook Live says that there are no industries to pollute the water, so their seafood is considered high quality.
Oh, that actually makes pretty good
makes
sense.
pretty good sense.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
Alex.
think I read that at the same time you were saying it.
Yeah. Now, North Korea is facing the worst drought in 16 years, which has to put a ton of pressure on them.
Their actions are a result of the instability that's societal pressures.
So what North Korea is doing is they're basically they do this every so often, trying to get money.
They do.
They're saber rattling, and they're
It's a desperate act.
They're trying to scare everybody into paying them off, but at some point they're just going to go over the edge.
Exactly. And at some point that's the thing though, is no nuke is really ever no one's ever, I mean, the United States is the only country that's ever used a nuke on offense.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it was to stop World War II, to put an end to it. So
That's what we tell ourselves.
yeah, it was really because we're
Sorry,
racist
Michael
against the
Schulteis.
Japanese and our hatred of Toyota and Hondas.
Is Michael Schulteis our North Korean friend? Is that what you're implying?
We need to watch him. I still have never received an apology for World War II from Michael Schulteis. Until he apologizes for Pearl Harbor, Michael, I'm sorry.
But he is from Tennessee as well, so he's from the South. You should like him for that.
Yeah, but Bittner's from the South too.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can't do
I'm
that.
conflicted.
Oh, Bittner. Listen, I got to warn you.
I know. I'm not pleased.
Bittner's coming next week.
You Bittnered me.
He will be here.
You treated me like Jeremiah Morrel's Chevy truck. You're gonna let him wreck our podcast like he wrecked your
Ran
Chevy.
right over him.
It's a GMC Sierra. It's in lovely condition. Listed on Craigslist, $6,200.
Yes, Tanner?
What was that happened to your truck? Like, what did he do to it? All I saw was the picture.
It got Bittnered, man.
What did he do? All I saw
He hit
was
some little girl.
Okay. You ran over.
She's
He
fine.
forgot. He
She's fine.
forgot that there was a fire hydrant in front of his house, and when he cut it he backed up into it.
It was a dog dressed like a fire hydrant.
If it'd been a pug, he'd have
It was
swerved.
a pug. He would never have damaged it.
Yeah.
Dakota Davis, 4867 Northview Lane, Newcastle, Indiana. Send your letters there, not to me. Animal violence is never funny. Now,
Sometimes. Says the kid whose class in high school killed several turtles, hit a goose with a golf club, and then poisoned monkeys with Tylenol.
Yeah, that was not my
had
class.
nothing to do with it.
I think it's kind of fucked up to have kids dissect frogs and cats and shit.
I don't think that schools should be dissecting cats either.
That's fucked up.
I'm with you.
I dissected a cat in high school.
Do you eat Chinese
I
food?
wouldn't do it. I told her to fuck off.
Now, President Trump responded in probably like in the most Greg Lenz way on Twitter.
They said
About
it was
North Korea.
improvised,
Yeah.
so he had prepared remarks.
I think he watched the first or second episode of The West Wing,
Yes.
where President Bartlett said he's going to rain down fire.
Yes,
I-
with the wrath of God's
Yes.
own thunder.
Yes, I believe he tried to go Sorkin on him.
He did, and he did it off script. And boy, did that! Because at the same time, Secretary Tillerson is trying to get Russia to be, because any no vote on the Security Council stops sanctions.
Right.
So you need all seven. And so the whole time Trump does this, he's mid negotiation on the vote.
Yeah, and
Well, no, I guess no, he wasn't, because the vote had already been handled, and then Trump responded to Kim responding
With his
to the
Guam
sanctions.
threat.
he wrote this: "They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen."
As far as threats go by a president, that's good.
That sounds
what's
like
crazy about him saying that is normally when he says something, he has his like when he says something, normally he talks like with his hands like that,
Right.
and he had his arms folded like the Grinch whenever he was saying it.
That was actually really talked about. Was the first huge aberration in Trump's body
I
language
noticed
during an
that.
announcement. Was that he said it with hands folded and looking to the side.
He looked
they
like
were they were
Nixon.
tucked like when cat gets nervous and smells her armpits.
And then she sniffs them like this.
It's exactly his body, his posture during that.
Oh, so I thought this was a tweet.
No, he said this as a response, because I mean, Kim says that he can hit Guam. They do the tests.
Guam schwam.
And it's
Honestly.
honestly,
There's a major military base. in
yeah.
Guam.
And then Dan Coates
Oh.
has been went around and said that this was North Korea poses an existential threat to the United States, which is just
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
They don't like
Yeah.
theoretically, yes, but we even have a nuclear defense, missile defense system, and
Right.
it's been tested successfully once in non-wartime, in a non-wartime test. But they don't have this sophisticated technology. This has primarily been fed to them by Pakistanis and
it's
the
our,
Chinese 20
Our
years ago.
partners are the ones that we're worried about. We're worried about South Korea
Yeah.
and Seoul.
That's
and we're
the
worried
real
about
worry.
Japan and
Yeah.
defending them.
And Japan's less of a worry, except that we are very much in a treaty that's about as binding as any treaty that exists in defense of Japan for a regional threat. Really, and the threat was considered China with Taiwan.
Check on your brother.
He's okay. He's gonna make it. Yeah, we and the same with South Korea. I mean, we have vested interest in making. I mean, we have a treaty with them to make sure that they aren't overrun.
I mean, we're the reason they're sort of in the predicament they're in, because back when the parallel was drawn and the two separate countries were. You okay?
He'll be all right.
The two separate countries were set up, and then there was the essentially no man's land in the middle that serves as the protected border with landmines in between. We pushed the envelope on that because actually the Korean Peninsula wanted unification, not to be split into two.
Well, so South Korea economically is very important to the Americans now.
Yes.
I mean, Samsung,
Electronics.
Samsung, LG, Kia, some major corporations. There's all kinds of manufacturing of name brands that you don't know of, but things that are actually made there. Our economy would suffer greatly if something happened.
Huge. They kind of are the R&D department and manufacturing, since once you lose your manufacturing base, you don't have the people in there tinkering because you just do marketing and supply chain. And so you lose that sort of knowledge, and company knowledge goes to wherever the parts are being made.
Absolutely.
Now, is it true that Guam will grow too populated and capsize, as Congressman Hank Johnson once said? Thank you to Ed Bell for reminding me of that funny.
He said what?
Hank Johnson said, is it possible that Guam could become overpopulated and capsize into the sea?
That was a congressman?
Yes. Many
Scott
years ago.
Philpott, I think you're exactly right. He is higher than Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
There's a good chance of
So,
it.
Spangle, do you still have those gummy bears?
I ate them.
Oh,
You missed it. It was whenever you went to go get your phone charger.
Yeah.
I missed the gummy bears.
Yeah, I ate them, man. They were good. Now,
Aren't you amazed how functional he is?
Yeah.
Just give him 30 minutes.
No.
That's when the pizza will get
They
here.
were just regular gummy bears.
realistically, we shouldn't be that concerned about North Korea, right?
It's when it's nuclear, it's always just it makes you nervous. And like if you
Right.
look at the American media, they're playing it up like we're on the brink of war
Yeah.
with the Hermit Kingdom.
Right. And this echoes back as you put in your great show notes, which we will put into.
I already uploaded them to the group.
All right, to this post on wearelibertarians.com for this episode. This is like the 60s with the Chinese in the 60s when they became a nuclear power, and the amount of terror that the American people and the American presidents and Kennedy and Johnson both had in China getting nuclear weapons.
I mean, this is Mao's China too, so it's not like the capitalist,
Right. It's not the
state-sponsored,
China we know today.
right? Which
Yeah.
is arguably economically more free than we are.
Yeah.
in some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if there's a bunch of environmentalists, they just run them over with a tank, like they're students in Tiananmen Square.
That's your fascist capitalism.
Yeah, like, oh, look, a new road paved with people. But like that, they don't have any worry or concerns about environmental regulations, and that's why their air quality is the way it is.
Ignoring the fact that North Korea is a totalitarian dictator, if you're running Gregdom, okay, you've got your own kingdom.
Dear leaderdom.
Exactly.
Right.
And Pakistan and India and South Africa have nuclear weapons. Why the hell wouldn't you want to have nuclear weapons?
Correct. Which is what this is about.
Yeah,
and has always been about.
Right.
It's the single deterrent.
It is not about North Korea having the ability to attack anyone. It's don't attack us, which why would anybody want? It's like, why would I? You fixed up your truck. It looks beautiful now, which is $6,400 on Craigslist. But why would you want your Bitnerd truck? You know what I mean? Like, who
doesn't want a truck with a story?
Who wants to attack North Korea? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And
I mean, for the right price.
so
I'd never
$5,800
pay.
We're a Libertarian special.
If I
today.
find out an automobile has even
me on
let
the DMs.
Bittner within 5 feet of it, 50% depreciation.
My Bittner has never been within 5 feet of my vehicle.
That's why it's retained its value.
now,
exactly what
also available on Craigslist.
I bet we
Yes.
could buy North Korea for 10 bitcoins.
seriously, somebody call Jesse Riddle right now.
Well, that's actually like the impact that they're worried about is the cultural, like it's the pop culture, this invasion. Like eventually information feeds its way into North Korea, and they're like, wow, this isn't the way the rest of the world is. And so so then when you factor in starvation and people being desperate, cultural revolutions right around the corner.
If you go back and listen to an episode we did a few episodes ago about North Korea, you'll hear more of an insight as to what the regime is like, and we also recommended several documentaries in that episode. But let's circle back to the China thing, because I think that really is instructive. In December of 1960, the U.S. National Intelligence Estimate warned that China's arrogant self-confidence, revolutionary fervor, and distorted view of the world may lead Beijing to miscalculated risks. This danger would be heightened if communist China achieved a nuclear weapons capability. Revolutionary fervor aside, the same assessment could be written about North Korea today. The same rogue state description fits the profile of China in the 1960s. Throughout the decade, Chinese leaders routinely dismissed the dangers of nuclear war and would stress the inevitable victory of the People's War against the U.S. imperialism and Soviet revisionism. At the same time, Chinese leaders greatly exaggerated the capabilities of their own nuclear program and downplayed the risks posed by potential counter-force strikes against Chinese mainland. And they had their first Chinese nuclear test in 1964, but when they did that, Beijing stressed the following: that their goal for developing nuclear weapons was to break the superpower monopoly between the USSR and America.
Which, to his credit, Kim Jong Un has said the exact same thing publicly.
He has also said what China said, which was a no first use policy, which is we will not use them first. We will only use them if attacked. And then China supports the complete elimination of nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And so that is the one thing that they differ on with North Korea. And this is Maoist China, too, which was much scarier. You know, Nixon would have probably been tried for violating the Jones Act for opening up a dialogue with the Chinese covertly.
Right.
Because he saw that it would be an Asian pivot for U.S. policy long-term.
Nixon was your favorite president?
In ways. Roger Stone has my favorite tattoo of Nixon.
Do you ever watch Futurama?
Never.
Oh, okay.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. It's based in the year 3000, roughly, and they have one of the characters who is the president of the United States is Nixon's head in a jar of formaldehyde.
He would support that, I'm sure. Were he alive.
Now, despite the caution, John Kennedy, I think, let's talk about some, because I think that as we move into the discussion over North Korea at various points, you know, like the Bush administration, I remember post 9/11 was, you know, they posed the greatest threat, and
the axis of evil,
right? And and here we are 10, 15 years later, and they're just the same little broken country that they are, and I think it was really instructive as I read through your notes about Kennedy and Johnson and the
I just wish
Chinese.
John McCain were still alive to see this.
And
I won't say his nickname. That's on 4chan.
The alarmism that is going on over North Korea is the same that went on with China.
It is. It's the same. It's funny how history repeats itself. But now China is a much. You know what's funny is realistically China was a much graver danger because of the pure size.
Right.
And then, you know, we were trying to defeat an ideology in communism.
Right.
And here's the Soviet Union's in decline, or what we perceive as decline, and here's this young, vibrant nation that's growing on the verge of having a coming out party on the world stage. And it's very, very communist. Not fake communist like Soviet communism, you know, where they just like the totalitarian part. Like, this is a very, very, these are true believers, like Che Guevara type believers that are poised for growth. And so them becoming nuclear is a much graver danger, and yet, I mean, I understand why Kennedy felt the way he did, because he had already seen, you know, he's also young and was going to be tested.
He said, like, the potential Chinese nuclear test, quote-unquote, likely to be the most significant and worst event of the 60s. He would disagree in Dallas.
Savage.
Might be the worst.
Shit's fucked, Brett.
I think there are a couple Kennedy incidences in the 60s that were more catastrophic.
In hindsight, he said, go ahead and nuke Johnson.
Right. So yeah, I think the alarmism.
What is North Korea?
But when you look at North Korea, there really is no, I mean, it isn't a, yes, the guy kills his own people. Yes, he is a dictator, but there doesn't seem to be mass starvation in the way that there is in other places. There doesn't seem to be a humanitarian crisis.
No, so there is very much support for Kim Jong Un.
Right. You know, it's a very brainwashed society.
And they view this very much, having nuclear capability, as a sign of prestige, and that enhances his control over things. You know, it gives them they're a more collectivist culture by just purely historically and as a culture, period.
Right.
And so factor in that they now are all of a sudden viewed as a deterrent threat and a real worry for the world's great evil and last superpower, the United States. That is a feather in the cap for the people that keeps them keeps their allegiance to the idea of the country.
Well, and that's part of the reason that they do the saber rattling.
Exactly.
Is that he's trying to... Nothing gets every president wants to be the wartime president because then they're popular.
Do you know what's coming up in 6 months?
What?
In February?
February.
In February.
Valentine's Day?
The Winter Olympics.
The Winter Olympics.
Where's it at?
South Korea.
Seoul.
They're gonna be in
Really?
South Korea.
I did not know that.
I
In
didn't know
6
that
months, we have the
Interesting.
Winter Olympics are going to be
Talk about an
Right.
added wrinkle.
right
Yeah.
where they're under threat of nuclear war.
Brand new wrinkle.
That is going to be so fascinating to watch. China will step in. So will Russia. Because even Putin, when they had the Sochi Winter Olympics, even he looked like the greatest guy in the world. He just did a
Yeah.
phenomenal job presenting Russia. Oh, I'm so wonderful. I love the
Right.
gays. Took a picture with every gay person in Sochi that week. You know, what are you talking about? I love the women. I have all the women.
Come here, Scott Hamilton.
Want to go bare shirt or bare chested riding on a bear with me?
Would you take a trip to North Korea?
No, would you?
No.
I think I would.
After Otto
It's like
Wampler.
asking if
Dakota
I would
and I
take a
watched-
nude swim at Jesse Riddle. No way.
Dakota and I watched the interview 2 or 3 times to do show prep, so we're
Yeah.
pretty sure it's going to be awesome.
Which I've never watched.
Playing
them.
basketball with Kim.
Did
My
he?
boy Kim. What up?
Tanner. Yeah. Can you wipe the drool off your chin?
You ready for some pie? You hungry?
I was trying to ask Jerry a question, but
What's your question?
Go ahead.
I don't even remember now.
How could you forget?
Because it was like 5 minutes ago.
Oh.
Oh.
Man, that injury that you got really is affecting your short-term memory.
That could be it.
You took too much of your medicine before you. He was trying.
But yeah, I do want some pie.
So,
that pie's looking pretty good to you.
Don't say anything.
I
about
think the
that.
Canadians up in Vancouver need to get their Olympic track ready, just in case we have.
Do
to
you
have a
think they
backup
would
plan.
consider a change of venue? If
I don't know that you can. I don't know that we have the ability to.
I think
the
it's a
Olympics
really
are so
good-
expensive and the security is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Mitt Romney had to save the Salt Lake City ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, really, he actually
Yeah, I know he stepped in and fixed it, yeah.
Yeah, you give him total control. He's really effective.
My boy
What's
Mitt
your
came
addiction
to the
over there,
rescue.
Yeah, mittens.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
When you
Jared.
need something done, get a Mormon. That's
Yes.
rule of thumb.
That's exactly right.
Generally, I always talk to the Mormons whenever they come up to the house. There's always like they send them on the mission trips over to different places, which I had no idea. I always thought that they were local kids, you know.
Yeah.
But so I asked these one guys, I'm like, so did you graduate from the local high school? And he's like, no, I'm from California. And the other dude's like, I'm from upstate New York. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, they
and
get
you're
sent
like
on their mission for 2
18.
years. Right at 18.
Typically, they're wide receivers for BYU.
Is that true?
I just
They're always
That's why all the
they're
BYU
super
players
nice
are always
people, though.
older than
That's
the rest
exactly
of everyone
right.
else.
Can you clear
Steve Young and all the
put
rest.
that on the here.
Just let them.
Just put it on the table. Let him lay his head down. He looks tired. He looks like he needs.
Fine.
No. Lay your head down, Tanner.
I'm just you were talking forever.
He's yours for the night.
Boring. So I was
Come on,
It's
buddy.
boring.
and I was on my phone. I'm not laying my head down.
How would Hank Hill respond to Kim Jong Un?
You'd say, "Well, God damn it, that."
Don't. Never mind. Stop.
Hold on, wait, let me think.
Maybe not.
Hey,
He
great
would say, that Japanese bastard, America hasn't seen any real patriotism till George W. Bush went down to Japan and spit on their auto executives.
Now,
Is he still a cuck? Did you ever get that worked out with Denise?
Man, he's a cock.
I heard
Dude.
Mike Judge is bringing that show back. But
I
they
heard-
needed
Yeah,
a new
they're
voice.
bringing
I
King of the
heard
Hill
that
back.
you were claiming that Ronald McDonald was a cuck.
That was
Is that true?
Greg.
Well, I mean, you said
You made
Kind
the
of
claim.
is.
That was all you.
why
Well,
is he
Talking
a
about
cock?
the chicken McNuggets.
Yeah, you said the
That's what we
McNuggets.
want to know.
What do you think of their McNuggets?
Well, I can't remember exactly what I was thinking.
Just tell us in general, what do you think of chicken McNuggets?
McDonald's specifically.
I like their nuggets.
Do you?
You like
Did
them?
you have a bad experience the other day? Is that why you were upset?
No, I never have bad
Did they have a
experiences.
coupon? Did you have like a coupon they wouldn't accept or something?
Were you like a 45-year-old housewife that was angry because they wouldn't accept her coupon that was expired?
I want to speak to the manager.
I was a 45-year-old housewife.
Was that whenever your hair was a little grown out, you had a bob cut?
All right, we haven't talked about Tanner this week at all. He's had a hell of a week.
That's all you've done this whole episode.
We will at the end. We'll catch up with Tanner a little bit, and we're also going to talk about the pool party.
This is gonna be rad.
Your birthday party.
Because Cat's not coming. I want some of this pie.
Some truth slipped out there.
Real talk.
Well, so we'll get to the pool party at the
I'm
end
just
here.
kidding, Cat.
I'm just kidding, Cat. I still love you. Take me back.
Now, so China, at the end of the day, China really has its thumb. They are responsible for most of the import-export food.
They're their lifeline.
They're their lifeline. And so China...
And honestly, it's the one thing preventing them, North Korea, from going to war with South Korea purely to get attention.
Right.
And like just randomly firing off one of their missiles into it.
How would China react to them setting off a nuclear weapon?
Be pissed.
Right.
Literally pissed, because that would trigger them into war with us, because then we would have to come. Japan would be sucked in, because we're in a treaty with Japan and South Korea.
Right.
And so those are as ironclad as of treaties that exist. It could trigger very much a Franz Ferdinand moment.
And
Sony, Samsung, and Apple are all involved.
Yeah. And then Steve Jobs would not allow this kind of behavior. He would have already put an end to this.
This will unite the Android and Apple communities like nothing else.
Get your Kias now. No, the thing...
buy one, get one free.
Discounted Rios
SUVs.
today.
After the war, you're gonna find some that are easily salvageable for like $2,000 right off the factory floor.
Now, here's the thing about China. China is not impractical. Like in World War I, you had very impractical, silly people running the great European powers. China is a very practical country. Its leadership is very practical. The ruling party is very understanding and aware of the fact that they are on the brink of social collapse, and that they're also on the brink of being a superpower. And a war in the region could easily tip them into chaos, especially if they have a humanitarian crisis of people flooding into their country.
Exactly, and they're in a rough position, because then all of a sudden, if they show that they're willing to fire like a nuke that say only has like 15 tons, a miniature nuke, but I mean like something like, because what was Hiroshima was 35 tons, is that right?
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And so I mean something smaller, but then that's a real threat. Like it's no longer funny. Not that it's funny that they might just invade South Korea, but it isn't funny when they show a willingness to use a nuke, because no one since us has been willing to.
Right.
That's a scary world to think about.
I still think that they're just simply trying to scare us into giving money.
Well,
They just want to check.
Well, let's say they
And then they'll
decided to
back off for another
nuke
20
South
years.
Korea. Now you're on a peninsula with a place you just nuked. And South Korea's geography is all mountains. 75% of the population lives in 30% of the landmass. The rest is mountains. You nuke the city centers. Now you have a radioactive wasteland.
You've got nowhere to go.
And South Korea is like, what, triple the size of North Korea? There's no way they could make them just all of a sudden take them over, and all of a sudden it's one united democratic republic, communist republic.
South Korea is wildly outclasses them in technology and the ability to fight back. It's got to be. You're going to get one shot. If you're North Korea, you get one shot to hit them.
And you're on a peninsula with them.
Right.
It'd be like if we decided to nuke Ohio. Which arguably, but
Michigan might. Indiana's probably going to be okay.
I mean, seriously, just to get rid of them.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if we're talking about Ohio,
in Michigan, we'd
clear
still
up
have
our
the upper
roads.
peninsula. We could just get rid of the lower.
Maybe our insurance would go down if we got rid of Ohio drivers.
That's a good point. There are benefits to nuking states.
Yes.
It's not all bad.
Now I see where Kim's coming from.
Yeah, now maybe we should hold Ohio and all our states around us hostage with a nuclear threat.
American troops that are stationed on the border.
Exactly.
And they've been there since the 50s.
Truth be told, this isn't a real threat, because North Korea's military is predominantly missile, and then they have the fourth largest military because everyone's in it. So it's a numbers thing.
Yeah.
So they have submarine capabilities. That's how they can launch their short-term ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads that have been miniaturized. However, their air defense hasn't received their Air Force is that meme of them on a merry-go-round like in those planes. Have you ever seen that? The Acme Air Force, the North Korean Air Force, isn't that far off. They are flying the same planes that they got like 40 years ago from Russia and China, and so it isn't. South Korea's Air Force is modern, and so they have the ability to wage an aerial assault, meaning that all of the ballistic missiles North Korea had would be targeted at the bases in South Korea. So anyway, you end up decimating an area that is only a little bit of it's inhabitable, and the city centers, there wouldn't be much left over, and you'd just have a bunch of mountains you couldn't put people in. So there's just no benefit to actually carrying out this attack. And hitting the United States would trigger your last lifeline to stop all support and ally with. It would unite China, Russia, Japan, and the United States against the Hermit Kingdom.
So what are your thoughts on Donald Trump actually doing something about this? I think
it's good cop, bad cop, personally. I think Secretary Tillerson is good cop, and he wants to force them back to the negotiating table.
Right. If he did do something, if he did do some sort of retaliation just based on threats, we weren't struck at all first, neither was any of our allies. If Donald Trump struck first, would you think that it is justified or not?
No, and he wouldn't, because it is of zero benefit to the United States to go on the offense against the Hermit Kingdom. It isn't like Iraq regime change. You get subsidized, crude oil forever.
Yeah.
You make that part of the terms of repayment, and for having a military base there. There were benefits geopolitically to Iraqi regime change. There isn't any. We already have a base on that peninsula. They have their iron ore, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Fish.
What of it? No.
There are other markets.
Yeah.
So there just really isn't. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. And it is posturing, but at the same time you're doing that, it's all about nuclear proliferation, and Kim is just acting in a way where he's desperate because he actually is. Economic sanctions are way more devastating because that actually puts the entire stranglehold on up for grabs. If he can get enough civil discontent among the populace.
From the American side, we don't have this optimism and this drive to spread freedom that we did in 2000.
We've hopefully learned a lesson.
That's gone away. The George W. Bush, we can get them a constitution and teach them freedom, is not at all in the heart of America.
They could strike Guam with a nuke, and it would get less of a response than if it was the World Trade Center did. Because people don't even know
that has
Guam's
led to a 16 years war, Greg.
People don't even. Half of the people in the United States right now couldn't even point out North Korea on a map.
No, most of them think
So why do they care about Guam if they can't point out?
They can't. They don't know Guam's a
exactly.
A
That's what I'm saying.
It's so it'd be like, oh, that's so bad for them. Is that like the Philippines with the typhoon?
Is that a
nuclear typhoon?
Yeah, is that a city in California?
Yeah, exactly.
Once again, it's because we have the American military all over the world. That's how we're wrapped up in this stuff.
Next door.
If we weren't sitting in the South Korean peninsula, if we weren't sitting in Japan on Okinawa with troops, this probably wouldn't be bothering us as much.
And I tell you though, that's such a good point about the Winter Olympics, because they're going to use that as the biggest piece of leverage they have, a mass casualty strike during the world stage. And he's that kind of rogue wild man that will make that threat. Given how desperate he is, that is a really nice bargaining chip for him to have in order to get... Because, the whole thing is about to get them to slow their development of these weapons capabilities. And so, man, Tillerson's really banking on our allies showing solidarity on these economic sanctions to the point of desperation. If we make him desperate enough, he's going to toss that. He's going to toss that out there. If 30% is a depression overnight.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about a Great Depression in a communist country where they are already on the brink of starvation.
A sanction that big hasn't happened in quite some time.
I don't know that it ever has other than Great Depression. You're talking a Cuban embargo.
What kind of sanctions has Iran been dealing with? Compare this to Iran's situation economically.
Oh, it'd be they've had 10%, and it isn't on raw materials. Raw materials, the reason it's so important is because those are mass employment. So oil, wood, timber, those kind of things. It employs a lot of people who would have a tough time getting jobs in the information economy.
It's labor's work.
If you do it on intellectual property and things like. In Iran, a lot of it was on banking, finance. We froze a lot of their assets. It's not like we put a tariff on dates. You know what I mean? We hit their sophisticated weaponry, those type of things. We didn't let capital flow in so they could grow and expand, that kind of thing.
So if we're dropping these kinds of sanctions on North Korea, how is that different than the type of sanctions that we've had?
This is unprecedented.
Iran has had certain partners that they've still been able to trade with. Where in this case, like have they had any restrictions with China? It's just been with other nations that they've.
I mean, it's been tariff standoffs because
Right.
they use state subsidies for key industries, and so we just end up saying, well, we're not going to let you do that to our labor intensive manufacturing and industries. So it's been a pissing match to an extent, but this is unprecedented.
The other part in the notes that I thought was really interesting, that was a great point, is the layout and geography of South Korea. And going back to what I kind of mentioned earlier, what's the Pyrrhic victory that would essentially be a war should North Korea somehow win that war. If they were to nuke South Korea, what would they be nuking, and what would they be getting afterwards should they do that?
Chernobyl.
You're nuking Appalachia to get a completely desolated area.
And now though it's
But
toxic for 40 or 50 years.
Right. But if they, like it said in the show notes, what was it? 75% of the population
Lives in 30% of the land.
Yeah, lives
It's
in
all
30%
city
of the
centers.
land.
The rest is
But
mountains.
if they nuked that 30% of the land, what resources? We already have talked about how their economy depends on raw materials. What resources are in the mountains that they could actually mine?
Exactly.
Would that
what
be a
they already have?
motivator
Iron
for them?
ore. The raw material.
Right.
And really, they have the majority of the raw materials.
So if you doubled what your intake can be, is that a motivator for North Korea?
Right. No.
It's
Because
just
then
survival.
you have to deal with the people.
They're in survival mode, and
Yeah.
I really do think that this is simply them trying to get another Bill Clinton check that they got 20 years ago.
You're so right.
Can you explain that? Explain the Bill Clinton check.
Yeah, I wasn't alive back then.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's true. How old are you, Dakota?
At 21.
He was just a glimmer in his dad's eye.
I can explain the Bill Clinton check.
All right, Tanner, our foreign policy correspondent, Tanner. You can explain the Bill Clinton check.
Okay.
All right, do it.
What were they just talking about again?
The
Bill Clinton.
the Bill
The Bill
Clinton
Clinton
check
check.
with the North Koreans.
In the 90s.
Ready when you are.
No pressure.
Wait, with who?
With the North Koreans, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about a different one. My bad.
Oh.
Did you think the
It
blue
was
dress?
a different Korea.
Yeah.
You're talking about the blue dress?
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh, okay.
Not the check, the blue dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talking about cigars here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Jared
you
brought
seen that?
his.
Have you seen the picture of that T-shirt that's going around on Facebook? It has like Bill Clinton, and he's in like a battle-torn.
War-torn area?
Yeah, and he's standing up. He's got his hands on his hips and a knee raised, in a battered suit with a cigar in his front pocket. And Monica Lewinsky is like clutching his leg like a woman in distress. His fly's undone. Hilarious.
It's based on the old poster of
Reagan?
Romancing the Stone. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie poster. And in the vein of the Reagan posters as well.
Yeah, because there's one that's an artist made a bunch of those of the former founding fathers, like George Washington holding a lightsaber and like Thomas Jefferson, intergalactic battler.
Jer, your mother has instructed you to get Tanner a cool cloth and put it on his forehead because he doesn't look like he's feeling
He's
well.
not feeling well. I'm sorry, Mom. He's had just like you, Mom. He's had a traumatic knee injury and he's struggling through. He's probably going to have to see Dr. Ralston.
It hurts, and I didn't get any sleep last night.
And he took a
because-
Benadryl or 5 before the show.
No,
He gets motion sickness. He took the boat here from
He rode down the White River.
If I take Benadryl, it makes me feel terrible.
Yes.
Like it makes me feel high.
You seem like you're high. That's
But
exactly what it is.
it's-
I couldn't put my finger on it, Tanner.
It's not pleasant.
No.
Somebody asked why there was a zombie on the show. He's not a zombie. He's merely
he's LARPing.
I'm trying to get a piece of that pie. Once I get some pie, I'll wake up.
It sounds like brownies are more up your alley at this point.
You know, when
What's
did,
your-
when did you eat those gummies?
When did I eat those gummy bears? I ate those gummy bears while you were getting your cord.
Cool.
That's why I told you. I told you he ate one of them. He didn't eat both of them.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pie? This is a cherry pie. If you're going to pick, go to the restaurant. We're going down to Stacks.
German chocolate.
German chocolate pie.
That's a cake.
I'd have never guessed that by your haircut.
Cake, too.
Yeah. German
I,
chocolate.
He said that's his favorite type of cake,
I
too.
normally go in and tell Clay I want the school shooter fade. I'm like,
Did you hear about Walmart?
I'm always like, give me the Columbine.
Oh yes,
That article? What was
putting the
What,
sign above
me,
the.
me going to court
Beer.
over Walmart.
Oh, that's right. You're suing the Walton family.
Let's
He's the
cut
key
this
witness.
bitch.
We'll get to that after the podcast,
Uh-huh.
Tanner. It's not yours to cut into. It's
It
Dad's.
was a gift
starving?
from your brother's
You're
future
good.
wife to your father.
What?
In a shocking act, an olive branch of friendship.
Yes.
The windmill of friendship and tolerance, basically.
That's what she
extended
should
to
have
me.
made in the pie crust.
Yeah. Did you see some? There's a clothing brand that's trying to reclaim the swastika as a symbol like of Hindu peace and happiness.
I'm sure that's going to go well.
Oh, it has gotten noticed.
It
Originally,
should.
it really was.
Yeah, they're like, we want to
That's-
reclaim the swastika.
That's what
Yeah.
the SWAT
Like,
means.
good luck with that.
Yeah, well,
That's
we
like
want to
making
reclaim
Fila
the rainbow
cool
from the
again.
gays.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're trying to take the rainbow back, too.
Yeah.
I saw somebody snapped me a photo of an Indian man who had like the Asian Indian, and not
Dot, not
your
feather.
Dot, not feather,
I was
exactly.
trying to be politically correct.
Oh, is
Thank
that
you,
not?
Greg. No, it's not even remotely.
Yeah, you literally have a button on your wall that says politically incorrect and proud of it.
Well, that's because those are buttons that I collect political buttons. I've also got a George Wallace button that your girlfriend, your future wife, gave me.
The
Jared.
lovely Sarah Potter did
Jared,
give you a gift.
When are you guys going to get married?
it's the weekend after Audrey and ours.
Okay.
Oh,
Now
that's
I
a
give
bit of
you-
a
I've
shitty
got,
thing to do.
I've got a
good
different
buddy.
wedding that weekend, bud.
Spangle, I give you a badass.
I've got a different
button,
wedding
too.
that weekend.
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Sorry.
I would love that.
The Trump one.
The Trump one. You did. You gave me. You
The
would.
inauguration.
Yeah, Tanner, if you remember, was our correspondent at the inauguration. Tanner.
Oh God, it always gets brought up.
Yeah, Tanner was our correspondent, and he dropped his phone in some Coca-Cola or a coffee, and all I got was random
Phones.
I was
FKED. Phone is no vowels.
PHN.
It was,
7-star.
Thankfully,
it
you
was
work
FONESFUKD.
Thankfully, you got that job over at the
Phones
Brisket Wireless, so
fucks.
now you've got a new phone and you're in high cotton.
Do you still have the pink
Yeah.
phone, Tanner?
Dude, I don't know where it's at.
It's with your debit card.
It's charging in the kitchen, I think.
No, I'm trying. To
I think it's in your
charge it right now.
hand.
He's actually
I'm
got
try-
the live feed up right now.
I'm trying.
Watching it.
I know,
I'm
I can
trying to
hear it in the
talk to
background.
these
Yeah.
people.
Now, let me ask you this, Greg. Someone on the Facebook live feed said it would be senseless for all of these Koreans, regardless of North or South, to die. Why doesn't somebody just decapitate the country from the top? Why doesn't somebody take Kim out, like the CIA or one of his own people or the Chinese or somebody? Why doesn't somebody infiltrate and just take this guy out? What's the problem with that scenario?
One part of Secretary Tillerson's strategy in order to try to lure them back to the negotiating table to slow their development of the ballistic missile technology and nuclear proliferation is that the U.S. official position is we are not pursuing regime change.
Right.
We have no desire to do that, to topple the kingdom, or to try to deal with the fallout where you have a bunch of people who've been brainwashed and secluded from all of popular culture, from everything. And
Right.
so they are the kind of civil discontent that would arise in from a quick change. I mean, you're talking about having to, I don't know how you'd assimilate a group of people who have had their sense of self evaporated.
Right.
And then I'll say, welcome to South Korean commercialism and consumerism.
Yeah,
That would be that would be a revolutionary type scenario.
sure.
And one that would not be pretty because they would fight to the last. They would resist, any type of cultural assimilation or see it as propaganda, just based on how they've been raised. And so that is why and Kim has eliminated anyone that looks like they are on the rise as a potential heir.
He's been killing people in the last year.
He's systemically eliminated anyone that even could be potentially identified as a replacement.
Now, we mock about him being a stupid little fat kid, as John McCain called him, but it is amazing for a third generation that he's been able to maintain power for even just a few years.
He has, and he has been way more aggressive in pursuing nuclear proliferate or nuclear weapons because he knows it is the only thing that will allow him to maintain the kingdom. If he doesn't,
I don't even know where he got that Coke from. I didn't even have
he brought it.
Oh, okay.
Brought it with me.
Yeah.
Just a wild Coke appears.
Highly functional.
He went into the wrong apartment, and while he was there, hey, bro, you mind if I borrow this?
You want some? I've got
You
caffeine
got that
pills.
from
Would you like-
606.
it's like some caffeine pills.
I'm fine, really. I just need to stand up, eat a piece of pie. I'm just kidding.
Why don't you just stand up?
But,
Why don't you do some calisthenics for our live stream?
I can't walk, bro.
Oh, that's true.
Torn ACL.
And that's the problem is I couldn't go to sleep last night,
Right.
so I was
'Cause it
up all
hurts.
day today, and it's been hell.
But you're committed. You still came.
But I was coming no matter what. Like, I haven't been to the doctor yet because I wanted to come here.
I saw him try to use his brake the first time. He nearly got into a semi down there at the end of the highway. It was close.
What?
Let me ask you a question, Jer.
Yes, dear leader.
You let him drive after you saw that?
I couldn't stop his car.
That would be intervention and non-intervention.
Sorry, Mom.
I don't have police powers. I can't stop him.
You do in Henry
Wait,
County.
That's very true.
Saw me do what?
Tanner, I'm going to sign you up for the Smith Defensive Driving Academy.
Did you say you saw me almost run into a semi?
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew that semi was coming.
No, he was stopped.
And
You weren't.
He's also the one that you flipped off.
Yeah.
Tanner
He was
is
in my way.
Tanner is the most jolly, happiest kid I've ever met, and
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who more bad shit happens to him.
I'm bad luck Brian.
He's Murphy's Law. Walking.
Since the beginning of August, you and Brisket Wireless have separated.
Right. You got in that car wreck.
You had a car wreck back in June.
Right.
Car came out of
and
nowhere.
in May.
There was the bike
And
wreck
in
on
May.
YouTube video.
The bike wreck on YouTube.
that was the 1 year anniversary.
Oh, okay. What you had?
Aaron Ewert thought you died and made a meme of you and made all your family members upset.
You were poisoned. You were poisoned at 2 We Are Libertarians parties. 2.
3 including this
Found
one.
Found out Hank Hill's a cuck.
You had too much Benadryl. That's not our fault. All right. Now, you've drooled all over your shirt on camera in front of thousands of viewers on Facebook Live.
Oh no.
Last week, you had an appendix attack that turned into a pancreas attack.
Yeah.
And you spent the night in the hospital.
That was such a genuine oh no, too. I'm isolating that.
He's more upset about that than having pancreatic cancer.
I forgot about the gallbladder. What's wrong with your...
Most of the organs are failing him.
He thought he had an appendicitis attack.
I wasn't sure little
I'm
Timmy
sure
was
I
going to
got
make
some
it.
cirrhosis going on in the liver.
Yeah, now it's
lung
cirrhosis.
Too much
cancer,
Benadryl.
fucking-
Pink eye,
No.
too.
I'm probably gonna go to, or I am going to the doctor tomorrow. I have an appointment.
He's he's testifying against Walmart on behalf of
He
some...
sued the largest retailer and employer of
He's
U.S.
the star
individuals.
witness.
Do you guys want me to tell you this story?
No, let me long story short it, because we want to wrap up the North Korea stuff here in a second.
Okay, so
Oh no!
I
I'm
talked
crying.
I talked to this guy, and he's the CEO of a clothing company for MMA fighters.
Right.
Rampage is sponsored by him.
It's like
Like,
white.
much
It's like
of
white trash affliction T-shirts.
Right.
Ed Hardy.
I mean,
Do not-
I'm not going to talk
very
bad
elite.
about him because I'm friends with the guy.
Do not
that
mention
owns
the clothing line's name, though. Okay.
it. Right.
Right.
Yeah, I won't.
So, anyways, they are suing Walmart because of you.
Yeah.
Because of your report.
You reported to the CEO. You are the star witness in this trial.
Well, actually,
As I said, he's the star
the
witness.
guy was like,
He just Jurassic Parked you.
That sound you heard in the microphone was Tanner belching. As I said, he was the star witness.
I feel like you just like kicked through the main entrance of Jurassic Park and let out a T-Rex growl.
So there's going to be a civil trial in
But,
October, and he's
so-
flying to federal court in California.
They are
Tanner, don't take too much Benadryl before you take the stand.
so, I plan on it.
Like, prosecutor, you're going on
So,
too
like,
long.
basically,
I'm so bored,
this
bro.
lawyer
this is going to
calls
be a
me.
discovery.
Shh, everybody let him talk.
This lawyer calls me like probably 2 months ago, and was like, "Hi, I'm blank blank, representing blank blank
Blankowitz.
in a lawsuit against Walmart. And he said, you told me that you had sent Alden blank a picture of a MMA an MMA clothing brand's logo with
this is a trademark infringement suit
with no clothing underneath, and if it was a knockoff.
Gotcha.
And I said yes, I did. Blah, blah. We talked for like a half hour. He called me the other day. We talked for like 40 minutes.
Right.
And then he made me write a actual statement. I have the statement.
I've read the statement. You're a beautiful writer.
So you did a deposition?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Sworn statement.
you're going to be the first person ever to end up in prison as a result of testifying in a civil trial. Bad luck.
That's seriously like all that's true.
That's coming.
I've seen the Rockford Files, and I'm very concerned about your safety.
So we have the documents. The Rockford Files.
The private investigators will come after you.
He's
you just
20.
You need to look out for yourself,
Dude,
my friend.
We message all the time. We talk on the phone. Like, he's got my phone number.
This is the Waltons, though.
Huh?
Walmart,
this is Arkansas money.
200-year-old pickle companies out of
business. You see what the Clintons have done to people in Arkansas?
I think Walmart's going to lose.
You're going after a future employer. What are you doing?
I'm not working for Walmart. Thanks for believing in me, Spangle.
It's going to be Perdue Mart when he's done with them.
Are the Walmart's cucks? Are the Waltons cucks?
Dude. You know, rumor on the street says that Sam Walton wears a chastity and watches his wife fuck a black dude.
Is that in your sworn statement?
Now, before I have to.
You should drop that truth bomb in federal court as a key witness.
I will. I'll say, look.
He's a Bernie bro, bruh.
Before he said that, he looked to his left and looked to his right to make sure nobody could hear him.
Sam Walton's been dead for 30 years.
You need to fast forward to an hour 14 on the video and watch him as he tells that story. My God.
Let me tell you about Walton.
Well, dear leader, thank you for having us on your show. This has been incredible.
Incriminating or incredible?
Incredible.
We've already been used in several different trials.
It's very true. We're on the public record.
Now, Jamie wants to know how high Tanner is. He's not high at all. He's
poisoned.
He's
another poison.
I've been poisoned.
No, he's had Benadryl. That's what we.
No, Rachel Valor overuses Robitussin.
I was just with Rachel, and she did give me a drink.
We've had this talk before. She overserves him Robitussin. She gives him 2 of those little cups. He's very sensitive.
She gives me some pill that has a 200 on the back of it. I don't know what it
Quaalude
is.
787.
Yeah, Quaalude.
She got some old ludes.
Go ahead, drink up. Have another hit on that Pepsi there. Old Bill Spangle here.
So
now, yeah. So to finish up with North Korea, I mean, we pretty much covered most of it.
Well, I mean, but I do think it's weird that the media is like playing up how serious this is.
Well, that's because they want ratings.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those things, though. It can become self-fulfilling prophecy.
Are we still fighting ISIS? Is that still happening?
I think Trump destroyed them.
The MOB.
When it's
the MOB
convenient.
took care of it.
Yeah. Right.
So they want this for ratings just like they wanted Trump for ratings? How'd that work out?
Now they're beholden to him, to be honest.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
But I mean, yeah, like war can be self-fulfilling in that, you know, language matters. The language you use matters. And it's one thing for a young and untested president, or, you know, a person early in his presidency to not want to be challenged, but it's quite another to do it with somebody who's somebody up against a corner that's desperate. You don't want to push too much because they have nothing to lose if they're on the precipice of collapse.
Right.
Then it's like, well, why wouldn't we fire the nukes?
It's Saddam.
We're gonna get
if
nuked
Saddam
anyway.
had nukes at the end, you think he's going to fire him? Hell yeah, he would have.
Absolutely.
He was done either way.
Look what ISIS has done to the places they controlled, to all the artifacts that remained. They blew up that Tower of Baal that was one of the oldest mosques in all of Iraq. I mean, you
have no reason to preserve.
And that's the worst kind of enemy. You know, especially when they have nukes.
Yeah, recreational make nukes.
Would you ever use a nuke if you lived in Ancapistan?
Yes.
Would you?
Well, if it got real, most of the time I would hire private mercenaries.
But what if your neighbor was Kim Jong Un? Would you fire right now and nuke at him based on what he's done?
No, we'd be friends.
You chill like Rodman and him?
Yeah.
So Ray Kroc is your pal.
But like, if he was
Sam
mowing
Walton,
his
not so
yard,
much.
and he got say he had a tree growing and one of his branches was like over my yard line, I'd probably send a mercenary to kill his whole family. But if
he does that himself, you're fine.
You'd be John McAfee.
But if somebody
live and let live.
If I was in a car and somebody hit me, rear-ended me, I would take out an RPG or a nuclear missile.
The appropriate thing to do is to sentence them to be your butler.
Who?
The person that hit you. That's the way it went down
No,
at Seinfeld.
I would use the recreational McNuke.
Do they have medical nuclear warheads yet? Is that the way that we're going to get these?
We're going to
honestly,
cannabis hydrogen bombs. We're just going to make the whole population high as shit
wait,
and then take their stuff.
That's a great idea.
We're going to
Yeah.
We will cure
honestly,
entire populations of glaucoma.
What we're going to do
My Second Amendment is not fulfilled until I can have
your own personal
nuclear missiles.
I listen. I think of all the people at this table, you're the one I would give a nuclear missile to.
Tanner, I think you should probably go home and start working on building it now. And if you get it built, you can have it.
Have you ever seen Back to the Future? Find some Libyans and tell them that you're going to build them a bomb, but just give them pinball machine parts. And then get a DeLorean.
Also a bulletproof vest.
Someone
That's very
told me
important.
I looked like the Unabomber. I don't know what the Unabomber
Ted Kaczynski? You don't look like him.
I'm
You're well groomed.
Are you
If
Ivy
anything,
League
you are well
educated?
groomed.
Are you Ivy League educated? Old Ted was. I know you do like to use the postal system like Ted. But
Hey, stop.
That's too far. Too far, man.
you leave Ted out of this.
Now, what is the appropriate response to all of this for a libertarian, Greg?
For a libertarian, that's a good question because I asked, when I asked Ron Paul the same question about what was the red line in Syria when we were out at DePaul.
In 2013.
Yeah, in 2013. He had a tough time because it's one of those things that if you wait until they're at your door, it's too long.
Yeah, exactly.
So what role do you play at what point do you exhaust every single preventative measure like economic sanctions, trying to culturally, or trying to use like CIA tactics of fomenting discontent like we did in Venezuela, to topple the regime internally through cultural
you keep
things.
talking until they draw blood, and then you wipe them off the face.
But that's the thing is they fire a nuke before you don't get that chance usually. Well, and if they hit California, it's a win-win.
I'm hearing a lot of intervention from you people.
No, but I mean, are they an existential threat? No,
Absolutely not.
Life would go on for everyone except in Los Angeles.
I think that this is a great point that you made in the when they say that this is an existential threat to the United States. You made a great point about America's ability to survive a nuclear blast.
Yeah,
can you talk about that?
I mean, we're not we're not like South Korea. We aren't urban. Our population is dispersed. 20%'s in rural areas that be unaffected. We aren't on the brink of collapse or any type of political or socioeconomic instability.
There isn't a Weimar Germany where Hitler can rise, or a 1917 where a Lenin can rise. There aren't these factions. In the
collapse in political trust and warring, Civil War almost esque moments, and then
Chuck Schumer will rise. That's the risk.
Right.
Chuck Schumer.
Apparently, he just likes
Or
to deploy
Amy.
the deep state on people for leaks.
Oh, really?
Remember when he said, when Trump criticized the intelligence community and said, well, their intelligence record hasn't been great. Then he goes, the deep state will wreck you. He said that on MSNBC, and it looks pretty clear that that's the case. But so we're not a concentrated area. We only have, 10 cities in the United States have over 1 million people.
Yeah, Indianapolis is like the 14th largest city in the country.
Right,
it's not that big.
We're an evenly dispersed country, so where would you attack? I mean, are you going to hit Alaska? I mean, if that's your capabilities with your long-term
they're
ballistic
going to
missile
have
technology,
to hit. If they can get across Pacific, they're going to try to hit San Diego,
right?
Or
and
they're going to hit one of the left coast.
If you
cities.
hit, so you would hit like Orange County, and then Orange County hope for the fallout hits southern Los Angeles and then northern San Diego, and then you wipe out a good 4 million.
They're not positioned to do it, but their ultimate goal would be Philadelphia, New York, Washington, Boston,
right?
Those cities, Baltimore, those cities over there,
and everything would continue on. We would just not be able to go. You wouldn't want to go do Grauman's Chinese Theater after Kim Jong Un sent a targeted nuke at them.
Right.
But everything would go on in the United States. Life would go on. Russia survived, with Chernobyl, the nuclear meltdown.
9/11 was incredibly traumatic for our country, but
it united us.
It changed us, and especially it changed our government. But
correct.
We still continue, even though our government got more, the deep state grew. It still, we're still doing this podcast.
Right. It's we're not being black bagged for dissidents.
God, I wish they would.
You have to realize that there's always going to be risk in life, but you can't live in fear.
It is. Nuclear war is just scary because of if you get hit, you're going to want to hit back.
Sure.
That isn't really an option because of South Korea and they're our ally. So we hit North Korea with a nuke. All of a sudden, you start cooking your allies. And then Japan probably gets some of the Fukushima meltdown radiation. Yeah. I guess that'd be payback since we got some of that bad fish.
Yeah. I hate when you get bad fish.
But I mean,
if they hit the United States, then you're fighting back, and then
what's the response?
If they hit the United States, they're done. I think that at that point, the Congress truly declares war. And
but we can't use a nuke.
Oh, sure we can.
No, because South Korea, the nuclear fallout, you would end up cooking our ally. We don't have these small nukes.
If they use a nuke on the United States, they're also going to use one on South Korea at the same time.
Right. They're not going to hit the United States. South Korea is who they would hit. If they get to the point of the absolute brink of collapse, to the point where there's nothing to lose, it is going to be unification of the Korean Peninsula is the primary goal because that's our last stand to maintain power.
Have you watched Man in the High Castle yet?
No, I haven't.
Better get back
Is
to
that
it.
what happens?
You better get back to
Does
it.
Hitler win?
Hitler did win.
I don't watch movies, but I watched Seinfeld with Jared the other day.
Seinfeld has a lot of parallel. Steve Bannon actually owned some of the rights to Seinfeld. That's how he made his fortune.
Now,
really, I had no idea.
That's how he made his Goldman Sachs fortune.
Wow.
And then he got in trouble in divorce
Steve
court.
Bannon made money off the Blood Boy.
He said he didn't want his kids to go to school with whiny Jews.
Watching Seinfeld.
I think for an American libertarian, there's absolutely no excuse to advocate for any military intervention generally, but in this case specifically. I think that all of the burden lies with China. China has the most to lose in this situation. If they're going to be a superpower like they want to be, they need to learn. They need to learn to be global leaders and regional leaders first and foremost. That was really what America. I mean, that's kind of what Trump's plan, but that was also what a lot of Manifest Destiny was: is control your own hemisphere. We obviously don't want to get drug into a war. We have these pacts that were chosen for us long ago. And I guess that's the question that we'll have to talk about on a different episode that every libertarian, I think, has to wrangle with in the modern era is, do you honor treaties like the ones that we have with South Korea and Japan? I mean, if you are a libertarian president and you are faced with the choice of South Korea just got hit with a nuke. No, it did not affect Americans, but America has made a treaty that says we should go to war. Do you, as a libertarian president, go to war?
Do you or do you not?
And that's a question that I think that people that's why it's easy to be a libertarian and Liberty LARP in New Hampshire, but it's hard to talk about current events, because if you're Gary Johnson and you're sitting in the White House and you're faced with this very real potential, yes, theoretically and philosophically, the sanctions that were passed against North Korea by the UN are an act of war. If that happened to the United States, if that happened to Russia, it's in Ron Paul's world that is an act of war, because you are, and so.
So you feel that economic sanctions are intervention?
Absolutely, they're intervention.
Is a boycott intervention?
It's an economic intervention.
Is it grounds for war?
Are you okay, Tanner?
Yeah, makes total sense though.
Because is it grounds for war? No, but is it intervention? Absolutely. You as a nation If you're placing sanctions or if you're driving through the UN sanctions on a country, you're intervening in their ability to conduct commerce, which affects their economy, and it always has the opposite effect. The American economy, the world economy, capitalism is what lifts these countries into a different place. Capitalism is what has changed China for the better, and it's what made America better. It's what made the world better over the last 250 years, 300 years. And so when you were disrupting the markets and the flow of commerce and people, then you are deterring the very thing that you're seeking, which is peace. And
now
so
you have a regime, though, that will absolutely refuse to allow the intertwining of markets, or because it can't.
Of course.
Communist systems, they only work in closed systems. It's not like, it's like Apple versus Microsoft back in the old days.
Right.
The reason Apple wanted a closed system was because it could be perfect. It could be their own little kingdom where there wouldn't be viruses. Everything would be plug and play. There would be no need to have adapters and worry about different, system requirements. It's the ideal that usually doesn't exist.
That's why I have all Apple products. It is superior.
And the only reason that they had to open up to compatibility. They allowed people to write for their platform. They became the de facto standard.
Right.
But they had to learn the hard lesson of their founder being fired from the company he started in a garage.
Right.
And so with communists, it's
and
a
then
lot.
He really
like,
got what was coming to him, didn't he, Greg?
Yeah, he got the Tanner thing.
What?
Okay, thank you.
Bum knee.
Yeah. He tore his ACL. Ended up costing him everything.
JP says, so basically I'm okay with the North Korean dictator brainwashing his people and threatening the attack on the U.S. Yeah. Guess what? Those are words, you dummy.
Yeah.
They're just locker room words. I grabbed her by the pussy one time. She wanted it. I'm a big star.
If it is you as a citizen of the United States are required to basically control your government. It is the responsibility of the North Korean people to dictate what government rules over them, or any government that rules over them. It is not for you and I or Greg to sit here and dictate how the North Korean people are supposed to live. Yeah. The North Korean people, by not overthrowing their government, choose to have a dictatorship and choose to be brainwashed. And that is not my decision, that's their decision. And
does a battered spouse, though, know that they're battered that stays?
So
do they feel like they can't leave?
It doesn't matter. At what point, just because you...
And I'm not saying I'm advocating for intervention. I'm just saying, there's a mindset that sets in where you lose the option to... you forget you have choice.
In some ways, yes, and no, I don't agree with you.
But even for battered spouses and
Absolutely.
Battered women?
I have had plenty of experiences with battered spouses, not mine, but in helping, that's really...
She wouldn't leave.
No.
Go away.
No, it's something that...
What did I do?
It is, I have a special place in my heart for helping women who are abused, and I can tell you that without fail, every single one of them knows what's going on at all times. They just don't make the choice to leave because they're too afraid. But there's never a brainwashing. It happens early on, but it's always like, well, this doesn't feel right, but okay. And it's just these little tiny slips of, that FISA court doesn't seem that good, but yeah, okay.
They are 3 generations in, though, I think is what Greg's trying to say.
Well, I just mean, for some people, yeah, it's just that you're brainwashed to the point of, does choice exist? And it's death if you're not right. If you don't win, you lose.
That's the way revolution works.
Guess what? The American Revolution, every person who signed their name to the Declaration of Independence was literally signing their death warrants. Every single one of them were going to be hung, and if they didn't win, that's how revolution works.
And we wouldn't have won without French support. We needed the support of others. So, if we could identify a group of an uprising group, like a Green Party in Iran,
we should probably check with Dennis Rodman. I'm sure he's got contacts.
The worm's plugged in. Nobody's got swag like the
nobody
worm.
Can save us but Dennis Rodman. So yeah, I do agree that I don't agree that there should be any military intervention.
None.
There's absolutely no American or human interest for us initiating any force here.
If you were to win and topple their regime, you would have no idea what to do with their society.
Right.
That's another vacuum.
It's for
You've
them.
got another Iraq on your hands.
That's for them to decide. And
they would have no idea that they were allowed
to. Yeah, Iran is a little bit different than that because at least we could see Iran.
And there's a resistance movement.
Tanner,
and we know who they are.
What did you say?
I said I'll smoke a half zip.
Half a zip?
Yeah.
What is a zip?
An ounce.
An ounce of what? Weed. Have you been smoking marijuana this whole time? No.
This is what's wrong with the Korean Peninsula.
He's literally North Korea.
He's very placid though. This is like the older.
I promise, Spangle.
He's like a 1986 Lisa too.
It'll never happen again, Ma.
I don't agree with you. I think it will.
She's a bad influence.
It will.
Well, we're gonna.
She told you had glaucoma and you didn't, and I don't approve of that.
We're gonna give Tanner some pie and pour him into the back seat of his car so he can take a nap.
Well, once again, dear leader, thank you for having the Balance Like a Liberty podcast with you. I know that Dakota and I have really enjoyed this show.
He tried so hard to be entertaining, and he tried too hard. What the first rule of entertainment that I teach every intern, every new person that comes to work for me at my day job at the Bob and Tom Show is don't get fancy. Don't try too hard. Just don't try.
Nobody likes to try hard.
When you try, you get North Korea. So
I called him Magellan on the way in here.
Now we have a big pool party coming up on Saturday.
We do. Tanner's. We're having a big celebration of life for Tanner.
Yeah.
And
hold on, I think he's celebrating. Tanner, what'd you say?
I said yeah.
My friend Trevor is gonna drive up from Alabama.
Is he really?
Gonna drive up all the way from Alabama just to
What town?
Huntsville.
Oh, good. Okay, I was like, man, if he does
Greenbow.
or Birmingham,
No,
that'd be a hellacious drive.
gonna drive all the way from Huntsville, Alabama, just to hang out
That's
with
good,
the
what,
Boss
5-6
Hog
hours?
Liberty
I'm
people.
excited. That's news to me. I'm very excited.
Another
to meet him.
Confederate. That's just what you've always wanted.
Now, Jeremiah put too many rules on this party. It's always you can never have a homeschooler planning parties, can you, Greg?
Well, the last one got wild and out, apparently.
No, it didn't. It was a very boring party.
There
last one
was
was
a,
my
there was a
birthday
certain
party.
someone who got very wild and out.
No. Here, I have a bone to pick with the Boss Hog of Liberty. He loves when...
We came here for our public apology as well. I'm glad we're getting to this portion of the show.
Is this the
Yes.
part where everyone apologizes?
No, there will be no apologizing from me.
Oh, really?
No.
Really?
Dakota and I will take the floor now. This is Boss
No,
Hog
no, no,
Liberty
no.
Cast show number 17. He's Mike.
Everybody's off except Greg and I.
Welcome to the Hermit Kingdom.
So
We just turned the lights off on the North Korean Peninsula.
See,
How about that?
There's two Jeremiahs. There's Jeremiah, the wonderful, caring friend, the man who is here, who is participating, the man who is does a great podcast, and then there's Content Jer. And he is now under protest on the show. He is writing notes on the Facebook Live. You can watch this at YouTube. Now, Greg, he 2 parties ago was having the time of his life bear wrestling his brother, as we've covered in previous episodes, and screaming out, "Content!"
Vegas Jer.
But then last time it was very you cannot silence freedom, his protest sign says.
Please clap.
I have ripped up your signs. They mean nothing to me in my kingdom. And but then we had another party where one person just had a little too much fun. I thought it was an appropriate amount of fun, to be quite honest.
I imagine you did.
No, you're not on mic. Here, all right, go ahead, Dakota.
I don't think it was an appropriate amount of fun. It would have been appropriate had it been just a regular wall party.
Or dancers.
Instead, it was Jeremiah's birthday party with Rex and Susan Bell, all of his family.
I blame
His,
Rex, actually, to be honest.
His 90-year-old great aunt was there.
She was hooked up to some life support thing, and I went to the bathroom first, and it said, "Do not unplug. You will kill my aunt." So my first inclination is I should unplug this because it'd be hilarious, because I didn't think that was real.
Nothing's funnier than watching someone
Content
desperately
risk.
fight for their life.
Glad I didn't do that. I'm just offended. See, here's the problem. You can't invite everybody to your party because you can't invite normal people and us to a party.
Normies and Aspies.
Normies and libertarians don't mix. And now everybody at this party is upset that he says, don't What does it say? Don't bean flick at birthday parties. And there was a hot...
It was a front swipe.
There was a hot 20-year-old blonde who might or might not have done a striptease on Greg and I. And libertarians are mad about it. Oh, yeah. Exactly. What'd you say, Tanner?
They're not real libertarians, are they?
Right. No, because real libertarians love what, Tanner?
Fucking what? The men?
Fucking the men? I don't think.
What, like?
I don't think that came out right.
The men libertarians? Or
what do they like?
Yeah.
What do they like? What do the men
libertarians like? Playing World of Warcraft. Sitting on their ass.
What does it say?
Looking at
Spangle
kids.
is a beef thief. I'm not.
In more ways than one.
I'm not Jesse Riddle.
Looking at kids.
Get it off the pie.
Toby Keith's songs are fine.
Looking at ass.
All right, well, let's start wrapping up. It's going to be a fun party, Jer. We always have fun at your pool parties. Your mic is back on.
Well, thank you, dear leader.
Right.
How do you podcast in Braille?
That was very difficult.
That was
for
well
me.
done. I thought you were an offensive coordinator for the Colts.
Been studying with Peyton Manning over here.
All right, final thoughts for this episode, Jeremiah.
Really appreciate you letting me showcase the talent of Henry County, Indiana. The best and brightest are what we have to offer. This has been fun for us. I hope that your listeners, the 10 to 20,000 that are listening at this moment, plus the live stream crowd, check out the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. It's a lot of fun. It's micro focused onto Henry County, Indiana, but I think it applies to everybody.
Well,
a lot of fun with locals in the community, and you get to know Dakota and myself.
And then Tanner's on it a lot.
Tanner's been on 3 or 4 times. We're negotiating the contract with his agent right now to see if we can make a return appearance or not.
You got to wait till the Walmart thing's settled.
We don't
could be
know
a toxic
how things are going
attachment.
to go, but we're trying.
He literally looked up at me just a moment ago when you said Tanner's on it. He looked up, raised his head, raised up his eyes, and he looked just like a sloth. If you've seen Zootopia, he was the sloth.
I am looking forward to the pool
Whenever
party.
you said agent, I was like, what?
Agent.
I have an agent. He's
like,
terrible.
what agent?
We're going to have, at this pool party coming up, Greg is going to provide karaoke.
Yeah, I have a
Last
karaoke.
time
We don't have lyrics, though. We got to get that worked out.
I think we know the lyrics.
You think so?
We got that memorized.
I got an iPad.
It's
I
all
feel like
Toby Keith songs.
every time people know it by heart when they're singing in the car alone, and then the second there's a crowd, all of a sudden it's like a blankness.
We'll get an iPad and a
happens to me, too.
yeah. And maybe a mic stand or two from
Sing it,
Spangle.
Tanner.
You end up
We're
being
gonna
Jeff
have some fun.
Bibbert at a karaoke bar saying
Yeah.
"social" like to John Mayer. Awkward.
So anyway, this should be fun. Like and subscribe us on Facebook. Give us a try. I'm looking forward to the We Are Libertarians bump, and it's going to be big.
When are we going to do our appearance on BHOL?
You guys name it.
I've been trying to line my dad up for weeks.
Well, Audrey, it's but now that the piece we've
There's
made
been a peace
peace.
offering.
Peace pie.
She made a peace pie, and I have a gift for her that I'll be giving to her Saturday.
The wedding is coming up very soon for Dakota. There's been a lot of wedding talk, a lot of wedding
There
planning.
is, and
Not for me.
Jeremiah
Not for me at all.
hasn't even ordered his suit yet.
You were going to measure me. That was going to be live on the air.
Do you lay left or right?
I ran into Tad Western getting fitted for a tux, and he has a wedding. It was the wrong size, and he needs it for Saturday.
Right.
And so he was like fretting at there, and he told me that his dog somehow peed on its drapes, and instead of just like at the bottom, it lifted up its leg and hit mid drape, like right at the window level, and just soaked it all the way down.
Poor Tad and Kona.
Dakota.
Yeah, so please check it out. Check out the Boss Hog of Liberty. It is a fine little podcast produced here on the We Are Libertarians Network. You can pretty much just go to iTunes, search We Are Libertarians, and you'll find all of our podcast selections. Make sure you check that out. Dakota Davis. I have become friends on Facebook with Audrey's sister.
Have you really?
Tonight?
Yeah. Lindsay Peavy and I are friends now.
Well, let's get the whole story there.
Yeah.
You sent her a friend request first, right?
No, I did. Yes, because when Audrey said I couldn't come to the wedding, I said, you know what? I'm gonna friend request your little sister.
And it's usually preteens don't use Facebook.
Kat said it was creepy, and I said, how do you think that you're on the podcast now? Because we were teasing Chloe, and I friended
Don't
you.
say we. Do not say we. I never wanted a third co-host. I've never
This
said.
is- this
I never
doesn't
woke
appear
up
to be
and
a
said,
pattern,
"Oh,
dear
if we
leader."
only had one more."
You find the younger sister. You did this with my sister.
I sure did. But
yeah.
That was an aquatic attack, really.
it really was. Today,
Last
That was last
week,
year.
Spangle texted my little sister.
last week I texted your little sister. How old
Yeah.
is she?
She's 18.
How did you get at the phone number again?
2 years till
I put it
eligibility.
in group chat.
Oh, not
Very, very innocently. I was trying to send her phone number to Kat, and then was like, Kat, you need to take my sister under your
Arguably,
wing.
Cat's creepier than Spangle.
Seriously. I would
Not kidding.
I would treat her with respect and dignity. Kat is an animal.
They're going to go to Muncie Teachers College together.
Yes, they are.
No, I had a nice I had a nice conversation with
Cluck,
your sister.
cluck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just laying the.
I saw
You guys
her,
actually DM'd?
Oh, I had a full conversation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Greg.
That's a boundary.
2 years till eligibility. So
I
You mean
saw her-
expiration?
no,
I saw her last night, and she said, I got a text the next morning that said, miss you.
I know. We had this long conversation, and then just like I was like, you know what? I'll amp the creepy up to 10 and make this a great story. I will just write Miss and then the letter U. I'm so glad. That she did mention it.
Did you see what the first message was?
Yeah, I saw the first message.
Yeah, where he said, hi, my name's Greg Lenz.
Yes.
So did you heard this story on episode 216?
Yeah.
Or on episode 16? We're not 200 episodes ourselves yet.
Yeah.
His
I
mother.
Oh, trust me, I listened to Audrey when the
His
topic of
mother
my appearance at the wedding.
Texts the person that's raised him as his father and says, "No, Greg Lenz is your actual father."
Yeah,
That's right. I texted it.
And then I see her yesterday, and I'm out to eat with my mom and my dad and my sister and Audrey.
It's his birthday.
Yeah.
His birthday party.
And I said, I cannot believe, none of us could believe that you actually texted Dad that Greg Lenz is my actual father. I know. And she said, no, I texted your sister. And my dad's sitting there, and he said, no, you texted me.
We're sitting at the Newcastle Elks Club, and I take $5 out of my wallet. She's sitting. I'm sitting here, and she's sitting where
You're not
Spangle
an
is.
elk?
I'm a guest of.
Oh, you were okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
I was
Davis.
gonna say that's an invasion.
So
Inside job.
I give her. I've known his.
They're like the Masons in Henry County.
I've known Mrs. Davis for 3 minutes, and I offer her $5 to tell Mr. Davis that Greg Lenz
oh my god,
is the actual father, and she does it. I thought it was Bailey. I thought it was the sister. I didn't realize that it was. And she didn't take the money. But I put it on the table. She texted it.
Easy there, feller.
And it was. I'm talking with my hands. Like the
yes, you
president.
are.
I love to bring families together.
And as we found out, she full on thought that she was texting my sister.
Hilarious.
Who Spangle has been sliding DMs into.
Yes.
And adding on Facebook and probably liking spring break photos from 2 years
No,
ago.
I didn't have the sister. I didn't have the sister because I could tell she was creeped out. But
imagine that.
But
you added this future sister-in-law.
But his sister-in-law, she's a little troll. I can tell. So I added her, and then she denied the request after his fiance said, "Don't add him. He has autism and he's creepy."
That was.
Which only,
I've been impressed by Audrey Joe because
It's been a good week for your
I wrote this
relationship.
heartfelt thing about how I enjoyed her friendship, and it didn't matter that I wasn't invited to the wedding, and I understood because it's tough. Weddings are tough, really laying it on thick. And she wrote, "Still not coming."
and so she texted her sister and said, "I have autism and I'm creepy, and only one of those things is true."
She said, don't add Chris. He's very creepy. Plus, he has crippling autism.
And so
he literally can't walk. He's so autistic.
So
he's in the state Tanner's in all the time.
She denied the request. I sent a message in all caps that said, "I do not have autism, but I might be a little creepy." And but add me anyways, and she added me today. So we're gonna
Things
be
are getting
brothers.
serious, you might say.
You're gonna be my stepdad, Greg.
Well, all right. I mean, I'm being given family members like Goodwill, so
All right, Dakota. Any final thoughts?
Nothing much really.
We'll have
Just
you guys on
like
again
and,
in a different,
I
less
need,
inebriated state
Yeah.
by one.
I need to
so
get
that way
on-
you can be a little more.
Does
You
that
know,
mean you'll be my step?
We'll be stepbrothers.
Hell yeah.
bunk beds, bro.
Can't wait for them to share bedrooms.
You got to get.
Send me anonymous messages on the new app.
Saraha?
Saraha.
Did you get the one about Bittner?
Yeah, was that you? I knew it was.
You've been getting these DMs for about a week.
There's the Sahara thing that everybody can send like private anonymous messages. There are various incarnations over the years. I don't do it because I'm way too fragile.
Give us the top 3 or 4, Dakota.
And a lot of Dakota is gay. Huge fan of dick.
It's like if you wanted a 4chan where you were one of the threads and you said go and just let all these anonymous people say whatever they wanted.
Here's one. I'm sorry that I have to be the one to tell you this. Everyone hates you and you should just stay home on Saturday so we can make fun of you while you're not there.
Jer wrote that. Look,
no, I didn't.
Audrey.
There's one that I wrote and he figured it out earlier.
Oh, he did right away.
Yeah, he figured out the one that I wrote.
You are a faggot, and I hope Jesse rapes your face.
Seth is the worst.
I heard he bought a dildo.
That was me.
You're so sexy. Is this one?
Isn't that crazy?
Here's one from Chris Spangle. I've always had a crush on you, and the fact that you're a libertarian makes you even better.
I didn't actually.
I watched him write that.
You didn't?
No, I didn't actually write.
No,
that.
he wrote it. I have the documents.
Here's one that says, your friends text 18-year-old girls.
That was your dad.
Not anymore.
Quite a few of them about my beard, which I don't have anymore.
Audrey?
And here's Dakota and Audrey. I plan on bringing Morgan as my +1 to your wedding reception. Is that okay? I've made it clear that she is to avoid Greg at all costs, as well as making her promise not to perform her lap dance routine on any of the other attendees. I can't wait to help you celebrate your special day.
That was Bittner.
Signed, Bittner.
And he only, of course,
would sign their name to an anonymous app.
I want credit for my anonymous
Oh,
comment.
he was homeschooled for like 6 months.
Oh, I know.
Only homeschooler that had a personal short bus.
and a Kentucky waterfall haircut. Did you ever have a mullet, Jeremiah? You seem like a prime...
only person who has
I had the Trent Lott haircut from 10 on.
He's the only person to have ever been taken out of school for being too rowdy, and only have lasted 6 months with his own parents.
You met him.
Yeah.
All right, Tanner. Tanner, final thoughts for this episode?
I had one in mind, but it slipped.
You got anything to announce about your birthday party Saturday night?
Yeah.
Sunday morning.
Everyone come to my birthday party Saturday night.
What's the address?
I don't fucking know.
I wasn't going to edit it out either.
But,
you're a hero. Tanner, you're a hero.
Be there and be fucking a bitch. It's going to be a good time.
You want to do a little preview of the Toby Keith you'll be performing?
If you do Willie Nelson.
You do the Willie Nelson portion?
Let's keep that then for the main thing. I thought you might want to do though the Taliban song.
Yeah.
Or How Do You Like Me Now?
Always living in my radio.
Somebody start the song off for me.
American girls, American guys will always stand up and salute, will always recognize when we see old glitter flying like an other man dead, so we can sleep in peace at night when we read down ahead. My dad served in the army and lost his right eye, and flew a flag out in our yard till the day that he died. He wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack, and my sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. Soon as we could see clearly through that big black eye, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. Bum, 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 bum. Hang Uncle Sam put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking them tits, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be hell when you hear Mother Freedom started ringing a bell. It'll feel like the whole wide world is coming down on you. Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
Trucks today, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I think that needs a round of applause, everybody. That was really something.
On one leg. That was impressive. That is the talent of Henry County right there.
I just shut our mics off and let him go. I mean, it was really a beautiful thing. I thank you, Tanner, for that. You brought a tear to our eye. You brought a tear to the
Sorry,
listener.
I just smoked way too much weed before.
No, you're starting to sober up after that song a little bit.
I mean, I was just so bored I wasn't getting to talk. That's why if I would have went outside, I would have been able to, like... I don't want people
Close
to
to that
think
mic.
I'm a fool or something.
No, you're not a fool. Trust me. This has been your best performance on this podcast.
Really?
Legendary.
I'd like to come back, but I don't think...
No.
I don't want you to think that...
Tanner?
I'm going to come back fucking loaded or something.
Yeah, you want to dial it back down about 1.5 blunts.
I smoked 2 grams on the way here because I was like, these dudes are going to want me to be stoned. God. So I went and bought 2 grams. I bought
You're like Nate Newton.
I smoked about $40 worth of weed.
Nate Newton was a Dallas Cowboy,
an
offensive lineman.
Talk as close to the mic as you can, Tanner. Now,
I smoked about 2 grams of weed on the way here because I was like, these motherfuckers ain't gonna want me on their podcast if I'm not high.
That's
so I was trying to find your place. And I was smoking a joint and trying to find the place, and this bitch looked at me like. I just kind of flipped her off like I did that trucker, but I ended up finding her, or finding Jer.
I am horrified at these allegations.
Tanner, I don't listen. I don't need you to smoke weed before you come here. You don't need to do that. You are very smart and entertaining and funny.
I mean, I do enjoy my herbal exercises, but
see, I just thought it was Benadryl. You lied to me.
You lied to all of us.
You were so high. You let me talk you into you knocking over a beer can that you did not actually knock over.
I was fucking baked, bro.
I know you were. You were high.
But did you eat? You didn't eat those edibles?
No, they're right here.
That hurt.
So this has been a fun episode, everybody.
I'm gonna have to eat them, and I'll order more.
No, you're not eating them here because you have to.
No, not here.
You're not staying here.
Here's a text I just got. He's fucked up like a soup sandwich.
Who said that?
It is. It's about 10 o'clock, and you're not staying. So you need to. We'll get you.
I'm gonna leave.
No, we're gonna put you. These boys are gonna take you home, so you're not driving.
He's gonna stay in your daddy's basement tonight, up in B Ripple.
You're gonna sleep in Spoon.
On the Monon. I will set you up a tent, and you can. I'll throw some marshmallows out there and some kindling.
I seriously just got so bored sitting here. I was just like.
Don't act like you smoked weed during the podcast. You came in.
Bro, I was blowing smoke as I walked up your fucking stairs. I tried not to blow inside the house.
I appreciate
also,
that.
Chris Galt,
dude,
if you're listening, we need to find you.
remember seeing that joint that I rolled?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't think these bad things about my son. This is all new information, and I'm outraged about how your mother.
You will be in church Sunday morning.
You hit him.
You
hit him on the back earlier in the podcast, and I think if you had done that a little bit more,
I'm gonna spank him.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember seeing that joint that was in chat earlier?
Did you guys see him? I didn't see anything.
I saw it. It would have made Snoop Dogg proud.
It was a 2G, boy. At least probably 3.
I don't know what that means.
Listen, man. Either. You are not
almost an 8th.
You're not the first, nor are you the last person to be high on this podcast. I mean, for God's sake.
I've done it before.
You can't even imagine the amount of...
my and Gina back in the olden days at Cholo Run. Where people died by a drive-by.
And Miranda.
Wiz, we rolled up here today.
Miranda's THC count is 87. So
we rolled up here today in Dakota.
That's her blood type is THC.
That's it.
This place is much nicer than we expected.
Mine was 1860.
1860.
I have the paperwork still.
I have the documents.
What'd you say, Jared?
Dakota and I roll up here.
Yeah.
This is not what I expected
I want to
at
go
all.
smoke a cig.
Much nicer.
Dakota,
Go-
you want to go smoke a cig?
That's okay.
Let's finish the podcast.
We're still on a podcast.
We're still live.
Dude, I thought that ended forever ago.
Dude, you just admitted to smoking all that weed on the podcast.
I don't care. What are they going to do? Come arrest me?
Yeah, probably.
I hope
You
they
are on
do.
probation.
You are on probation,
I
Tanner.
got like a month.
I got like a month.
He's still on it.
I don't care. Like, I thought you were going to like crop the rest of this out.
No.
I mean, I don't give a fuck.
I'll leave it in. I'll take it out if you want me to, but we're
No,
live on Facebook,
no.
so there's really nothing you can do
No,
about it.
I mean, I just.
This is why I didn't want to live stream, Jeremiah.
You know me, I don't have a filter.
I said, for Tanner's sake, we probably shouldn't live stream tonight.
I said I
I
agree.
can edit it, and
I demanded
no.
a live stream.
Literally, all the four of them ganged up on me. Is like, okay.
Well, I had told him I had put that in the meme last night announcing the unification of the Wall Peninsula and how we were going to be imposing mandatory freedom for all, and so I felt like it would have been a lie.
It is a great meme.
Would have been fake news.
It's up on our Instagram, the We Are
It
Libertarians
is.
Instagram.
Excellent work.
It was you requested someone to be your dad, and I'm like, well, no, let's just
I
make
think
it all
it's the
of
only
us.
time I've ever been in a Greg Lenz meme.
Oh no, I made you as do not talk to me or my son ever again.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
John
yeah,
Oliver
yeah.
holding you.
I wanted Milton Friedman to be my dad because he's the father of Poonhounds.
David Friedman.
Speaking of John Oliver, the English made an announcement. Prince Charles is getting passed over.
Really?
Did you hear that?
cucked. He's
Yeah.
getting line of succession cucked.
He's getting skipped for
His own
William.
son cucked him.
Did Queen Elizabeth say
She
so?
made that decision yesterday.
No.
It makes sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
He is a cuck.
he's had a divorce. It's
Yeah.
He's cucked.
impure.
All right. Final
you
thoughts.
You can tell by looking at people if they're cut. What? Final thoughts?
Yeah. Final thoughts, Tanner.
I don't have any thoughts.
Where can people find
period.
you on social media?
Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat?
Is it Tanner Perdue on all of them?
No.
T-Sizzle?
Final thoughts, Greg.
I think my Instagram's TJ Perdue. My Facebook's is PERDW. W is in George W. And then my Instagram is Rashbringer. Like the hashling / of the Rashbringing, the Rashbringer.
Greg, final thoughts?
I just want to thank Jeremiah, Dakota, and Tanner for making the trip. I know it is not a short trip,
problem.
and we started late.
Love you, Pops.
Love
Grand
you too, son.
unification.
And, we would have started a little earlier, but Tanner had this slight issue. But he got lost in this rather enormous apartment complex. And
It's very complicated.
I asked him to honk twice so we could find him while he's on the phone with Jeremiah, and we couldn't hear him. And so we just started yelling Marco until he showed up.
I came to the right spot.
You did.
I was like, I think I know where it's
You were out front, and you didn't pay attention when we walked in, when Jeremiah walked in, and so you didn't want to just pick from 4. You had a 25% chance of being right, which apartment unit it was. So I'm impressed that you were here.
There was like 5 different ones because I didn't know exactly.
It's
which
apartment
one he walked
529.
in. Yeah. I mean, I would have took my chances.
Tanner?
Thank you for coming.
I tried to open their door with it unlocked or with it locked. I thought it was your house, so I just
Those
fucking
lights
twisted
and
it.
cameras were something totally different over there.
Yeah.
Is that everything, Greg?
That's everything. I'm going to be relying on Dakota in old age to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I got you.
Unless you win your Walmart lawsuit, which I'm rooting for you.
Breaks my heart.
I'm just kidding, buddy.
All right.
And happy early birthday.
I think you.
Please listen to the Boss Hog of Liberty on iTunes, Google. Just go to iTunes and type in We Are Libertarians. You can do that on Stitcher or on Google Play, and you'll find all our podcasts. Get the Boss Hog of Liberty. It is a fine show. Listen, next episode we'll give you an update. Follow our Snapchat on Saturday night if you'd like. It is going to be filled with many of the shenanigans of the party. It is the letter R. We are Libertarians because we couldn't fit the A and the E in there. So
I'm looking forward to your next snap filter for the party, dear leader.
yeah, I should do that. I
should work on that.
Yeah, I should do that tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow, please, or else I'll forget. All right, thanks
I'll
for
remind
joining us.
you.
Thank you. Here on this episode of We're Libertarians, you are all so generous and so kind to us, and we appreciate everything that you guys have done to help make this a real show. Make sure you follow the Chris Spangle Show as well. We're going to have a lot of content in there about the building of the Wall Network. If you've made it to the end of this, then you're a real fan, so we want you to get the inside scoop as I try to build this into a real business. I'm going to give you all I'm going to teach you how to make podcasts. I'm going to teach you how to build a network and learn and all the things that I've learned on building this and that I am continuing to learn. So thank you for joining us here on this episode of We're Libertarians. We promise some certain things. All right, we promise at the end of every episode to do what, Tanner? And as always, we promise.
Yeah, we always promise to take questions.
All right, well, that's another. As always, we promise.
I don't know.
Feels like Tommy Boy trying to close his sale.
Skippity doo bop.
Can you give us a scat cat at least?
How do I give a scat cat?
Just give us your true thoughts on Cat and Agnos.
Too soon. Too soon. Still very.
I mean, I like Cat.
Wounds are fresh.
She's really cool.
Former
I like
fiance.
Cat.
All right, and as always, we promise.
To do better next time if we can.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at We'reLibertarians.com.